miss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah!
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
And welcome to the Thursday Thick of It. Quinnen Williams' new contract central, Gunny. I am in a good mood. I could not wait to get here. We're back at 8 o'clock. What do you think of that, Gunny? You in, you out? What do you think?
Hey, tell me about surprise, but at the end of the day, it's the Thursday night thick of it. I'm always in. Always in.
Let me tell everybody what happened. So I told everybody, except Gunny, I was like, hey, it's 8 o'clock. I put it 8 o'clock. I made sure. And then I just sent Gunny the link. And he, at 7:10, he's like, hey, what's up? Like, what happened? I'm like, oh, you. That's right. I should have told you. So I didn't tell Gunny. So he's been hanging out at the Thursday Thick of It for an hour. I'm sorry, Gunny. I sincerely
No worries.
am.
I chopped it up with a couple of guys who jumped on early anyway, so it was all good.
Oh, yeah,
good.
there you go.
Yeah.
See, not everybody got the memo. All right, so you weren't alone. That makes me kind of happy, kind of sad. I don't know. But I'm happy to be here, man. Are you excited? There's a lot going on. We got training camp around the corner. We have the Hall of Fame game right after that. We got the Hall of Fame ceremony with 2 Jets going in. What's the mood, Gunny? How you feeling?
Ecstatic. This has been the off season for the New York Jets fan base, right? We've been needing this for quite some time. We're well overdue, and we've been getting literally kudos all off season. We got Aaron Rodgers, our boy Q, just signed a 4-year extension. That means for the next 5 years he's going to be donning the gang green. Hall of Fame games, like you said, right around the corner. Klecko, Revis going into the Hall of Fame. Like, the season for us has been exciting. We had a bit of a dead season over the last month and a half, but training camp is next week. So I'm pumped. Like, football for me starts next week, and I'm beyond excited.
Yeah. This is the time of year. Like, we got to get our gears. They're all rusty and a little bit corroded. You got to oil them up with the old 1940s
COP.
gas. Yeah. Remember like the old gas cans you push on the little oil cans, I mean.
Yep.
Like the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz. For some reason, we haven't gotten past that. Like, if we're going to say oil can, it's still, nobody goes, oh, what, you get a funnel and nobody's oil? It's like, you got to do that. It's like the best thing we got. So I'm excited. I know the people in the chat are excited. Phil Adams is here, man. Phil Adams, who is sending out an amazing Jets flag to a lot of people. Now, I live in the middle of nowhere, so mine always comes last. It is what it is. But he made it like a Jets content Hall of Fame sort of a thing. It's like, what a great thing. Phil Adams, and he's the guy, he created the Jets Jack. You guys see there. I hang it proudly. There's only 5 of those in the world. I'm blessed. I'm grateful to have one of those. He's in the house. Thank you, Phil. You're the man. He's over there in the UK. It's like 1 a.m. for the poor fella, but he still hangs out. Kay Yeti's here. This is so good to see everybody. We've been hanging a little bit here, but it's like we're now starting to get it going. We got to get the whole thing back. We got to get the crew back together, Gunny, and we got to start talking about what just might be. It just might be. It has the potential to be one of the better Jets seasons that we've ever seen, but at least in the last 12 years, man. Are you bought in? Have you kind of bought into any of the negative stuff, or are you riding the high? Like, where do you stand with going into this season?
Look, when we first brought in Aaron Rodgers, right, I was already at an all-time high, thinking to myself, okay, last season, how we had competent quarterback play, this team could have really done some damage in the NFL. But then, you start hearing all the negative stuff about, like, he's old, you know what I'm saying? Last year was a down year and blah, blah, blah. And granted, the stats tell you he did not have his most productive year last season. Right. But when you dig deeper and start peeling things back, you realize Aaron Rodgers actually, with a broken thumb and bruised ribs, played really high-level football. The biggest issue was his receiving core was mediocre, with leading the league in drops with 40. Almost, I think, 15 more than the next team, right? So that came into play, and I sat back and I watched every Aaron Rodgers' throw for last season for the video that I was working on, and I'm so pumped. I truly believe that Aaron Rodgers this season, with better offensive weapons around him, could literally have a MVP type level season. I think that last year was more so on the lines of a young receiving core that dropped the ball quite a bit, like literally. And with this group, I think we've got the playmakers that can go ahead and utilize the skill set of an Aaron Rodgers. And I think with Aaron Rodgers, you make our top 3 defense even better because they're not going to be on the field as much as they were last year. Imagine that. Last season, our boys were on the field way more than any other freaking top 15 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Any other top 15 defense in the NFL, our boys were on the field by an average of 2 times more than they were. That won't be the case. That's insane. And they were still top 3.
And like to add to that, and then we're going to go right into the defense because we got some big news today, Gunny. What you said, our defense was on the field sometimes up to 2 times as much as other top defenses. So now you can say, oh, they can't get off the field, but it was more about our offense. You know, they get the ball back and it's up in 3, down in 3, and they're back on the field in less than 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like they don't even get a chance to get a good old fashioned sip of water, man. They're like, they put their ass on the seat and it's like, get up, you're going back in. But you look at this with the defense, right? So we have the potential right now, like you said, with the offense, right? So the offense can actually stay on the field. If the offense can stay on the field, and you just said a few reasons why. If they stay on the field, think of what this defense could actually do rested. So the Jets lost 5 games where the defense held the team, the opposing team, to 20 points or less. All right. We lost 5 games with 20 points or less. The league average, and I got this from Matt O'Leary's recent Just Jets podcast. So, he did the work. I'm going to blabber about it. So if the Jets offense could have just pulled together the league average of 22 points, that's 5 more
wins,
victories, dude. There were numerous games. We lost 6 games by 1 score or less. I mean, not or less, but like, a touchdown or less. So, 7 points, 3 points, 5 points, 6 points, whatever it might be. 6 1-score losses. Like, that's how bad our offense really was. If this team can just give them 3 less drives a game, 2, 3 less drives that they're on the field, this defense could be even better. Now, we just got some news today, and Clifford S. brings up a great point. Now, what he's talking about is this. I have refused to buy a Jets jersey of an active player until they sign a second contract, a real second contract, not a Nathan Shepard 1-year extension, a Jordan Jenkins 1-year extension. Truth is, I wasn't going to buy their jersey anyway. Yeah, with all due respect, I wasn't going to buy a Nathan Shepard jersey anytime soon. So I was waiting. Quinnen, I was like, all right, dude, and I love Quinnen. He just might be my favorite player on the team currently. So I was waiting for someone to get the damn second contract so I don't buy a jersey, another one. I've done it so many times over the years. And then you buy a jersey all excited. 3 years later, they're gone and you got a jersey hanging in your closet, right? You guys, whether it's Sanchez or Sam or whoever the hell it is.
Yeah.
These guys, so we finally got the news today, Gunny, that Quinnen Williams did in fact sign his contract. Jets fans were going nuts for a little while. I was asked this question numerous times. I was asked it on Jake's channel, Jake Asman, who will be here in just a little while to give us his thoughts on training camp and Quinnen Williams and everything else. I was on his channel on the 4th of July. He was asking me if I was concerned. I was on another channel. I was in all the Instagram and Twitter. Everybody's asking me, are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I never was, because I thought it's going to happen. It makes too much sense. It was stupid not for it to happen. And on both sides, it's just stupid. Unless they're light years apart, if they're offering them $10 million a year or something like that, which they're not. So we get today, he signs a $96 million extension. He's now the highest paid Jet in history. Mm-hmm. He's the second highest paid defensive tackle in the league, behind obviously Aaron Donald.
Yep.
And he's the first Jet to get a legitimate second contract in the Joe Douglas era, which is interesting. And he's the first round pick to get a second contract in forever. Gone back
been a
to
minute.
McCagnon, right? It's like, I mean, since Muhammad Wilkerson.
It's been a while.
So he gets $66 million guaranteed. How you feeling about this? Were you worried? Did you think it was going to happen? Are you relieved? Where do you stand with the whole big Q being back, Gunny?
For me, I was never concerned. I mean, I was very adamant on there's no way that Joe Douglas can look at this kid who hits all the boxes. He's definitely a Joe Douglas type of guy. He's done every single thing right. The defense without him for one game last season looked like a shell of itself in terms of creating pressure. He's the catalyst that allows that defensive line to do what it does. A key part, a key cog in that Jets defense. When you go out and you get Aaron Rodgers, there's no freaking way you don't make sure you get the quarterback on the defensive side right. And that was Quinnen Williams. There was no way in my mind they were going to let that guy walk away, or it wasn't going to get done to where he wouldn't be happy playing this season. As for the number, yeah, it's an extension, but people need to realize we get an additional 4 years added to the year that we currently have him under, right? So we already activated the 5th-year option, so we're going to get him for $9 million this season, roughly, and then the extension is what we're talking about. So in essence, this is Q for 5 years. We get Q till he's 30 years old.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Prime years. Joe Douglas is a legend in my book. A lot of people will say that, oh my God, he got paid a lot more money than the other top guys that got paid, but he also averaged more sacks. He had more sacks and more pressures than the other 4 guys that got paid. And the amount of money more that he got in comparison really wasn't that much more for the production he's put out. I think Joe Douglas hit a home run with this one, right? Securing and locking down a Jets-built franchise player. He's homemade, right? And he embodies everything you want in a leader on your team, right? He's literally a catalyst to the team to continue to go ahead and get better on the defensive side of the ball. And all around good kid. I don't think there's a single person who can look at Q and be like, man, this guy's attitude or this or that. Even him handling the whole situation this offseason, quiet. I mean, just quiet. The only thing he did was he took down his Jet stuff on Twitter. That was the extent of it. And then he was just patient and quiet about it, right? And to me, I think he handled it well. I never had any doubt, and I love the contract. I absolutely love the contract. I think it's team-friendly, but yet it also shows the value and appreciation for a guy like Q and his production. So I'm beyond giddy that it got done.
Yeah, man. Giddy Gunny. What do you think of that, everybody? We got a Giddy Gunny
that's
here
me
tonight.
today.
That's not too bad. I want to remind everybody that Jeremy is in the back here, as he always is. Jeremy, Jets Chaos, Jets Lounge, Jeremy, Jets Lounge Chaos, Jeremy, Jingleheimer Schmidt. That's what he is. Jets Lounge, Jeremy Chaos, Jingleheimer Schmidt. There he is. He's here with us. He'll be popping on. I'm going to get his thoughts real quick in a few minutes on Quinnen as well. I like what Weed the People says here. He reminds us Quinnen wasn't the only one. We gave both the Williams brothers an extension this year. And if that doesn't make you feel good, man, I mean, come on. I mean, look, we don't, I don't think his brother is quite the player Quinnen Williams is, but he's a damn good ball player. And when he's on, that is a thunderous mofo right there, man. That guy, when he's coming, he's a heat-seeking missile, isn't he?
Yep, he's flying. I will say this. I wonder if, because I think a lot of us were talking about like, hey man, give the kid $100 million a year for the next 4 years, get him signed up. We wound up getting him for 96, which I think is a bargain for what the majority of us were saying he should get. I wonder if that's the Quincy Williams discount he was talking about, right? Like he took a little bit of a discount to make sure his brother was here, because I swore he'd be getting 25 plus a year for this extension, and it wound up being less than that. But again, still fair. I'm wondering if the Quincy Williams discount is why we were able to get him for that price point.
That's it. That little bit, that little something. He said, hey, man, look, we signed your brother. What the hell's the problem here? Come on. You told us. He's like, yeah, on second thought, I want all the money. So I'm going to show this picture real quick, and then I'm going to bring Jeremy on and see what he thinks. I'm imagining he's happy as well. But this is the guy. This is why he's so important. Now, I'm going to thank our buddy Jets by Jack on Instagram. He has a great Instagram feed. If you guys don't follow Jets by Jack, you should every day. It's one of the better ones out there. But look at this. I'm going to get this comment off there, Ricky. Great comment. I love it. But so look at this graph. This is the attention that Quinnen Williams garners on the defensive line. Just look at this. It's not like once this happens, right? This is 4 different games where the opposing offense felt it necessary to use 3 of their offensive linemen on Quinnen Williams, on one of our guys. Now, if that's happening, what does that do, Gunny? What's the positive there?
The positive there is it frees up those wonderful edge rushers that we've stacked up over the last couple of years to go do work, right? They get to go eat because Quinnen Williams is doing what we like to call cleaning up. He's literally cleaning up the offensive line, allowing his guys to have one-on-ones and sometimes a free rein right to the quarterback. And I'm telling you, this dude is worth more than the $96 million. I think we all saw that last year in the one, I think it was the Lions game, the one game he didn't play in. We were like, damn, this defensive line looks different. Like, where's the pressure? And the only missing piece, the only common denominator was Q was not in that game. But yeah, this is what he does. He cleans up. He allows his edge rushers to have open lanes and one-on-ones because he's able to go ahead and do stuff like this. And even with stuff like this, they still struggle to stop him. Double teams, triple teams, and it didn't matter. Still struggled to stop him.
I'm telling you, man, it's the best thing in the world. I want to say hello to our boy Ali. He's in the chat. Good to see you. Official loyal New York Jets fans is here. It's good to see you, Ali. I hope you're as excited as we are. I'm putting a poll in the chat right now. I want you guys to check in on this. This is the number one sentiment that on the negative side of things. People are afraid. And I think rightfully so. The last guy we extended, that we drafted, he got paid, and then he became a little bit of a problem, and then he just decided I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to work, and he just became a waste of space. And we ended up having to cut him and pay him and the whole thing. And that's Muhammad Wilkerson, of course. So, do you think, Q? Is there any concern that Quinnen Williams is going to take it easy now that he got paid? Do you think, like Gunny said, we have Quinn until he's probably 30 years old. He's a Jet. I'm getting the damn jersey. I'm not afraid anymore.
Yep.
But do we have to worry that, hey, now that he got paid, he already did his work. He put in his work. He gets his 66 guaranteed. He's living the high life. He's going to sit back and drink margaritas with umbrellas and shit in them. Do we have to worry? I'm going to see what Jeremy thinks about that. I'm going to leave these pictures up so you can just appreciate the gloriousness. This is all last year too. This is not a joke.
Yeah, this isn't.
Let's see what Jets Lounge Jeremy has to say. Jeremy, are you worried about Quinnen becoming Muhammad Wilkerson? And then tell me your overall feelings. What's going on?
No, I mean, I think that any player in the league, when you sign their first big contract after their rookie contract, there's always that concern for any team, for any player in the NFL. You know, like, it's not impossible that they're going to flop afterwards, or they might go on to have a Hall of Fame career. But the analogy I was just thinking about was when you think about like Muhammad Wilkerson, for us to not embrace this contract and this extension, it's kind of like everybody think back to when you were in high school and you were dating and you were going out and you found that girlfriend, or if you're a female out there and you found that boyfriend, whoever it is, and how frustrating it was when you had to pay the price for something someone else did. We've all experienced that, right? It's like, I don't trust you because the last guy cheated on me, and now your life is harder. We don't want to do that to Quinnen Williams. We can't sit there and say, well, you're not going to get the big contract and get what you've earned and deserved because we got burned in the past. Like, you can't live like that. You got to move forward. Quinnen Williams has been the biggest star that we've drafted and groomed, you know, from that year. He's the first one to get to this point where he needs a new contract in the Joe Douglas era where it really matters. People thought with Marcus May it was such a big deal. How insignificant does that feel when you say the name Marcus May compared to Quinnen Williams?
Right.
I think what we learned about Joe Douglas is he's going to give the big money to the impact players that really, really deserve it and need to be on your team to win championships. Yep. And we're going to find value with role players. And he knows the difference between a superstar, impact player, and a role player.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I did put yes, no on there. Who said that, Kenneth? Right? Isn't the poll
Yeah,
correct?
You did. It was correct.
What the hell
Oh,
is
he's
going
saying
on?
you should have added maybe. You should have
Oh,
added
maybe. No.
Yeah.
Make a damn decision,
Nah,
Kenneth.
Nah, there's
You
no
gotta
easy
get off
outs
the pot,
here.
friend.
Yes or no.
I get it, man. It's what's hard. It's hard to commit, but I get you got it. Yeah, man, that's it. We got to commit. I'm gonna say this, and I mean this sincerely from the deepest caverns of my heart. That might have been the best comment I've ever heard Jeremy utter. All right. I mean that. I mean, about the impact player. Jeremy, he says some good things from time to time, right? We know that. But that was legit. When you compare, remember how upset many Jets fans were when we chose not to re-sign Marcus May, when his agent went public and released that Joe Douglas is offering less. He's offering 80% of what his free franchise tag would be or whatever. And some Jets fans got upset. Joe Douglas is cheap. Joe Douglas doesn't take care of our own and all that sort of stuff. When the truth is just like Jeremy said, like you look around, it's like Marcus May. I mean, I'm not going to throw stones at him. I liked Marcus May. I wanted to retain Marcus May. It has nothing to do with that. But a smart GM knows where to put the money. Marcus May, while he was good, is not Quinnen Williams, right? He's not impacting the game. Like if he goes out, the defense doesn't change. Like when we saw Quinnen, he was out one game last year. It was a different defense without him. It was completely different. He's that important to the team. Not that it can't be a good defense if he gets hurt or something like that, but it's a totally different defense. Yeah. When Marcus May went down, while it sucks and all that, it was, it's not the same impact. And Joe Douglas knows how to value the guys. And that's good to have a GM that doesn't think with his emotions or get all caught up in the he said, she said out there. They asked Joe Douglas, what do you think about that comment? He said, we love Marcus. We want him to stay. And look, and that when you looked at it, it's like Joe Douglas had Marcus May locked in. He had him for that year. He had the franchise tag. He's like, I already have, like, if I want you, I have you for this amount, but it's not guaranteed. And if you get hurt, you're out, right? I'm offering you a guaranteed contract. It's less, but it's guaranteed. Now, what ended up happening? Marcus May blew his Achilles, and he ended up going down south and signing. Was it with the Texans, I think, or the Saints? One or the other.
It's the Saints.
Yeah. It's a weird thing that happens. I confuse those two teams a lot. I don't know why. I just do. I routinely say the opposite. It's like July and January. I do that constantly. Whenever I'm talking about July, I say January. I see it in people's faces every time. They're like, January? What? I'm like, oh, I meant July. And I do the same thing when it's January. I talk about July. It's weird. But Marcus May went down there. He signed his contract, and he ended up losing $7 million on the whole thing. So it's like, when you look at it, who comes out on top? When you think forward and you don't think with your emotions and you don't get caught up, you make better decisions. And Joe Douglas does that. And now look, we locked in probably, arguably, the most important player on the entire defense. You can make arguments for others, of course, but I'm on Team Q. I think he's the centerpiece. I think he's the guy. And he frees up. When you look at these pictures, man, nobody else on our defense is doing that. Nobody else on our defense is commanding that. And if you look at these guys, those aren't tight ends, guys. You know what I mean? Those are offensive linemen. There might be a tight end thrown in there. I can't quite tell. But when you look, that it's 56, 79, 66. Those are offensive line. That's a center and two guards. And, that's what's going on there. They feel that we have to stop this guy because he's the one wrecking it. And that's a big deal. Jeremy, you're the man, dude. That was a great comment. Thank you for that. Wow. We'll bring you back on a little bit. You want to say anything else?
No, just go Jets.
Go Jets, Jeremy. There he goes.
I
Jets Lounge, Jim Geimer. There he is. All right, there. Have we looked at the pictures enough? Take one more little gander. Take a little glance. Suck it in. That's the guy that we just re-signed. We haven't had a player like that since, I don't know, man. It's been a long time. Maybe Muhammad Wilkerson for a little while there. I don't know. Sheldon Richardson was great for a little while there, but nobody was doing this. And I couldn't be happier to have Quinnen Williams. I can't wait to see this poll. There's some people. Look, I'm telling you, it's lopsided with the nose, but there are still people concerned. If you're concerned, throw it in the chat. I'll try to bring it in. I'll try to bring it up. As you can see, there are no super chats tonight. I'm sure you guys have realized that. I'm sure hundreds of you wanted to desperately throw some super chats in there, and I'm grateful. I thank you. We can't have it tonight. So YouTube, I'm in trouble with YouTube, it seems. I don't think it's warranted, but they do. So I had to appeal, and we'll see how that goes. So right now, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to have super chats, everybody. So that's what it is. But it's still, look, we can still hang out here. Gunny, right? We're okay.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
we're still doing all right.
We're here for y'all. This is fun. Just chopping it up, talking
That's
Jets
right.
football. Like this is an exciting time. The payment we're getting is the opportunity to talk positively about the Jets. It's been a while since we could do that. It's all been
really
positive.
has. Hey, I'm telling you, man. And dude, I gotta commend all of us. I mean, so for real, look what we've been through with this friggin' team, and we're still right here. Right? It's like, I mean, it's got to turn around, Gunny.
At some point, whenever you think of the term diehard, it should have a picture of any New York Jets fan next to the term diehard, because my goodness, the beatdown we've had to take as a fan base, not just from the L's our team was providing us with, but other fan bases who use this as a joke, right? We were the punchline for other fan bases. It's refreshing to be in a situation now where you turn on NFL Network or you turn on ESPN and they're talking about the Jets being Super Bowl contenders with the roster we've put together. Like, it's refreshing beyond refreshing. It's great to be on this side of it. Of course, we got to go out on the field and of course live up to it. But it's been nice for an off season to happen, and where you got the haters who are going to talk crap, obviously, you know what I'm saying, other AFC East foes. We get it. That's what we do, talk crap. But the consensus is, the majority is like, yo, the Jets have arrived. They've got a legitimate roster that can contend. And it's just nice to be on this side of the news media for once.
Yeah, it is. And like, so let's bring this up. Speaking of the news media, this is another big story this week, and I want to get your take on it. We haven't spoken about this, and I'm curious what the chat thinks. I already know what they think, but we had this thing come out from a former NFL cornerback, Asante Samuel. He comes out and he says, you know, there was this rating of the top cornerbacks in the NFL, and Sauce Gardner is number 2. Behind Surtain Jr., right, the second, and Asante Samuel didn't like it. He said, no, it shouldn't be this way, and it's the New York media that's responsible for the myth, the legend of Sauce Gardner. And it's like, for me, this is how I'm going to give you one thought, and then I want to give it right to you, and I want to hear your thoughts in the chat. We'll bring some of them up. My thought is, what? The New York media destroys our player. What the dude? I've been complaining about it for years. It's literally responsible for why I started the channel. I'm like, these guys are the worst. I can't handle it. There's nothing positive that ever comes out about the Jets. Now, granted, it's hard to find positives, but they're there. And I wanted them to be discussed, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It's like, now there's a lot of Jets content creators out there and everything, and the world is changing, right? So it's a little bit different. But 6 years ago, when I was with, and I started with Jetnation and everything, there was no voice. I was like, this is horseshit. I want to come out and say something. And this guy is saying that the New York media is responsible for the hype. Now, like Sauce Gardner said, dude, this isn't even by the media, the New York media. What are you talking about? I don't understand. And then Revis got into it, and it was really good to see Revis kind of fold back into like the Jets side of things. This whole Klecko thing, it was weird, right? We don't want to talk shit about it. No. It was nice to see him come back and defend our young buck, Sauce Gardner. So what did you think about all this? Am I nuts? Am I with the New York media? Like, what did you think about all this?
No, when he said, I thought it was comical, and I was like, what is he talking about? The only time I've seen positive anything about New York Jets media prior to this offseason, it was on YouTube channels. Like being out here in Houston, if I was on watching ESPN on or NFL Network, I've never seen a positive thing, right? It was always somehow, some way, how the Jets messed it up, or the Jets being the Jets, or whatever the case might be. Literally, I got legitimate news, real news about the Jets from YouTube. Like you just said, I started following YouTube content creators because I was like, okay, I need somebody who's going to at least talk about what the Jets are actually doing. Vice just putting a story on repeat just to talk crap. And he said that, and I said to myself, Asante, this isn't a movie. I've been going back and forth with Asante, aka the Double Move King. I've been making it a point to go ahead and, of course, get on my Twitter and roast this fool. I started calling him a pick-me because he's out there right now just trying to go ahead and get attention. There's no way anybody who has any kind of IQ about football would literally say that Darrelle Revis was overrated. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're going to sit there, not in the Hall of Fame, talk about your 51 interceptions makes you better than Darrelle Revis. A guy that deems interceptions to be the basis of production for a defensive back or a cornerback, let me know all I had to know about this guy. I'm like, okay,
yeah, right.
So you brought nothing else to the table, so you're only talking about the one thing you did good was pick off balls being thrown to the third and fourth options that you were guarding. So it became abundantly clear that he's just trying to get some clout. I don't even think what he's saying, he believes it. There's no way somebody who's played the game at his level, at the NFL level, believes that the measure of productivity for a cornerback is interceptions. Like you'd have to be, you're pretty much saying you have no football IQ. And so after a while, people will realize that he's trying to start his own podcast now. He was on the I Am Athlete podcast last year, and it was the last time he really got any kind of clout. Anybody remembered who he was other than his son being drafted in the NFL. And I think a year removed from it, he realized, man, I'm going to start my own podcast. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and stir some stuff up. And, of course, we as Jets fan base, the moment you start disrespecting one of our GOATs, yeah, you know we're coming for you. And look at him. He's been trending on Twitter ever since he spewed it. Not because what he said was relevant, but because we as Jets Nation weren't having it. And it just shows like, hey, you know what? One of those guys who understood poked the bear, and then we reacted. I don't believe for a second he believes what he's saying, because if he does, then this is a guy who lacks football IQ or is suffering from CTE. There's no other way around it. If he believes what he's saying, he's suffering from CTE, and it's bad.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I mean, look, it's an old trick. You know, we see it from reporters all over the country. Like somebody in Arizona will say, oh, yeah, and the Jets suck.
Yep.
And then a million hits. We go get them. You know, Jets Twitter, like off the leash. Like that's what we do. And it's a funny, it's just, everybody knows it. Like it's just, Bayless just did it. Aaron Rodgers is the most overrated player in the NFL. It's like, what the hell are you? Now, granted, we don't know what he's going to do this year. He's 39 years old. We don't know, right? Like we're positive. We're hopeful. Like you said, last year wasn't a washed year. It was lower for him. It was still top 10. It's like
top 10 in the league.
Top 10 in the league. On a down year with a broken thumb, new offensive coordinator, all the stuff, 26 touchdowns, 3,700 yards, 64% completion percentage with the league's most drops for catchable passes, all those kinds of things. But we still know what he's going to be. Overrated, dude. He's like top 10 in or top 5 all time in all these. Like, how is that overrated? It's not like he's 3 years and he got lucky with some things and a lot of picks were dropped and all those kinds of. It's like we're talking about a long career, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP. It's like it's crazy, but they know, dude. If you want a little pickup in your hits and your clicks, and your engagement. Attention, you talk about the Jets. That's what you do, because we are downright nuts. Like Greg is saying, Jets fans epitomize everything that's great about sports fandom. Absolutely unwavering loyalty.
Facts.
We all rock. And that's the truth.
He's telling.
I wish we could keep it in our pants. I do. I wish when these guys would say something that we could just ignore them. We can't. We just can't. And they know that.
Yep.
It's like, the guy, you poke him, and you do it all day, and you get to sit down, and you poke him again. It's like, that's just what we are. It's what we are. And I think Asante Samuel is doing the same thing. I saw a comment in here. Where the hell's Jake Asman? Jake Asman's coming on the show at 9 p.m. So he'll be here in 20 minutes or so. So, and then he'll spend the last hour with us talking about some training camp, obviously Quinnen Williams, and whatever else we have going on. So it's going to be a good time. I'm excited to have Jake on. So just hold your horse a little bit longer, and we'll get Jake on the show, and we'll cut it up with our boy who started the whole Klecko Revis. What an amazing thing for Jake. I'm going to ask him how he feels now that all the smoke is kind of settled.
Yeah,
it was a big deal.
That
for
was
Jake.
huge. Yeah, that was huge.
Man.
Jake's podcast was everywhere. NFL Network,
God.
ESPN,
Everywhere.
CBS Sports. I was like, damn. All right,
Totally.
Jake. Hey, you're doing your thing, dog. You're doing your thing.
That's right, and well deserved, man. Well deserved. I'm going to end this poll. We asked everybody, are you worried about Quinnen Williams now? Taking it easy now that he got paid. All right, like Muhammad Wilkerson. Now, there's reason for Jets fans to feel that way.
Right.
Because the last guy that we extended did just that. Same position. But it looks like everybody is feeling pretty good for the most part. 87% said absolutely not. And then about 12% of us are still a little bit concerned. And while I'm not on that 12% side, I think Quinnen is cut from the right cloth.
Yep.
I think he's the kind of guy that you want to give the money to. I think Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, and the boys, they've recognized that. They know the deal. They know who to give the money to.
Mm-hmm.
And we just saw it happen. And Quinnen is here for the next 5 years, man, at least. And I'm going to be able to wear a jersey with pride, man. It's crazy. I can't even believe it. It's been a while. The last one I buckled on and it's all because of, my son, and he was excited, and the Jets, they just put out the new jersey, but it was Sam Darnold the night that they released the new logo, which I wasn't in love with, but the black jersey, I just said, you know what? My son was like, I want one. And they were doing half off for the next, rest of the night or whatever. I said, all right, Sam's going to be here 4 or 5 years at least. Right. So
I got to see, I bought Sam's jersey after the comeback win at MetLife against the Cowboys. I was like, you know what? A good one. This guy, I'm like, yeah, he's got it. I can buy the jersey. It's going to be safe. And then we all know how that ended. But yeah, I went to that game. I was at MetLife, and I remember watching that comeback, and it was glorious. And I was like, okay, yeah, Sam's the truth. I can go ahead and get the jersey. We got ourselves the quarterback. This is going to be great. And, of course, you know what I'm saying, things happen, and not the case. But, I mean, hey, you know what? You can't go wrong with an Aaron Rodgers jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I got mine on order still. I'm a bigger guy, I guess. I guess there's a lot of us that are bigger guys because I got a XL Aaron Rodgers jersey, the stealth black. I ordered that thing a month and a half ago, and it's telling me it should be shipped out next week. I'm like, damn.
Like, we're still sewing them.
Still, you know what I'm saying? Still putting them together.
Yeah.
But I feel like Aaron Rodgers is a safe bet. I mean, granted, he'll probably be a Jet for 2 to 3 years. Nonetheless, he's a freaking Jet, and I'm going to ride that one to the wheels fall off. So, Aaron Rodgers jersey is definitely one I'm getting for this season. I think I'm going to chill with just that one.
Yeah, I'm going to get me a Q jersey. So, somebody asked me here, what color jersey? I lost the comment. I wanted to put it up there. I'm sorry, I lost your comment. It's a good question. Let me see. Where the hell is it? There it is. Mark Ferrero. I got it. I was just going to give up, Mark. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I might get white. That's what I think. I think I might get the white jersey. The scary thing is that I'm a spiller, and I got a little bit of a belly, which hopefully I'm going to work on. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But I'm a spiller. I like to spill. I always get spills right here, Gunny, at the top of my belly. That's what happens. A little coffee.
That's your thing?
Yeah. It's my gig, man. Little tiny Jeremy knows. A little tiny pasta sauce, little Sunday gravy, a little coffee, a little whatever. It's just what I do. So I'm like nervous about the white. I haven't gotten a white jersey in a long time. I do have a black jersey, a black sauce jersey, but that was gifted to me. And Jeremy, if I'm being honest, Jeremy sent me a Becton jersey, black too. So those are safe. I could spill anything I want on those friggin' things, unless I'm eating marshmallows or something. But the black is kind of safe, So it's I'm safe. Like, I want, and I love the way the black looks. I do.
Same here.
I'm
it's clean.
I'm a fan of it.
I'm a huge fan. I have the last white jersey that I bought is a Sean Green white jersey.
Sean Green.
I haven't. That's the last one I got. That was white, and I haven't done it since. It's either been gangrene or the stealth black since.
Yeah,
But
most of my jerseys are green. I think all of them now. I had a white Sanchez. Jeremy, why'd you send me a Becton jersey? What were you thinking? You're muted, buddy.
You're muted, brother.
Well, first of all, before he got injured, obviously, and that was like the jinx of all jinxes. But I don't know. I look at you as like a defensive line fan. You had the Gastineau, and then we had Becton. I look at you as just a guy who appreciates the guys in the trenches. And I thought, and I still believe that Becton is a special talent. At the time, right before the injury, I had him in my mind as a 10-year, 12-year, all-time great Jet. So I was thinking perfect jersey to get you,
Yeah, you know what, man? And I appreciate it. I do. And you're right. I am a trenches guy. Outside, I mean, I had a Freeman McNeil jersey. I lost that I don't know where the hell that one went. It just vanished. It's a shame because I love that damn Freeman McNeil jersey. But I'm generally speaking, I have Klecko, Gastineau, I had a Wilkerson, Bird, and then I've Becton. Like I'm definitely the trenches, but I have my Mo Lewis jersey, so I'll take one step back from the trenches. But the Sauce jersey, while I love it and I appreciate it, and I've worn it numerous times, I just it's hard for me to buy I don't know what it is. I'm right there. I think you got it right, and maybe this year it'll be good luck, Jeremy. What do you think? Becton's going to do it?
Well, he looks the part. That's all I could say. He looks the part. He looks fantastic. Best shape of his life. He's been working hard all offseason. That's the difference from now in the past. He didn't come into camp looking to get in shape. He's going to come in shape. And to me, that's the sign of growth and professionalism.
Yeah, I love it. I think I'm rooting for the kid. I really am. I gotta believe. I gotta believe, man. He's ready. I mean, how much bad luck can one guy have, right? I'm gonna knock on some wood.
Yeah, I want to say, don't do that. Don't do that. What are you doing?
What's wrong with me? Do I just get here? What am I doing?
We're not going to test the gods.
Jeremy's the man. Jeremy's a good dude. Okay, so Jake's going to be on here in just a few minutes, everybody. We got the great Jake Asman coming on to hang out with us and talk about training camp and Q and whatever else comes up. We're going to look at your comments in the chat as well. Ronald Perry seems to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be here more than that rumored 1 year. Now, we know that they're working on a contract extension or at least some sort of restructuring, man, because holy macaroni, you cannot pay somebody $100+ million
next year.
There's no way.
Gosh. No.
There's just no way. So what are we going to do? Only time will tell. We'll see what Joe Douglas and Aaron Rodgers put together. But are you on board? Do you think this is a 2-year minimum kind of a thing? How do you look at this one, Gunny?
You're going to think I'm crazy, but I think it's a 3-year contract. I think it's a 3-year contract, definite 2 years. And I think that third year is going to be based more so on how he's feeling physically. If we get to keep him upright these next 2 years, I guarantee he plays a third year. If we keep him upright these next 2 years, he'll play a third year. But I believe it's going to be a 3-year contract before Aaron Rodgers decides he's going to call it quits. He's not going to quite do the Tom Brady 45, 46, but I see 42, 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers slinging it for the Jets before he calls it a day. But I know for a fact, I guarantee it's a minimum 2-year deal with the Jets. He'll be playing for 2 years guaranteed, no matter what.
Oh, I love it.
And in 3 years, I think it'll be the bonus year, especially if we go ahead and get just ever so close to that freaking that ring. I can definitively see it being that 3-year easily.
Yeah, I think I got to be honest with you. And I was joking about this, but half joking all throughout the offseason, since we signed him. I feel the same way. I think Aaron Rodgers is revitalized. I think that he's finally at a place. Look, dude, for the last few years, I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, they were clearly moving on. It's what they did. They were trying to move on. They traded up in the first round for a quarterback when they could have just got him a stud receiver, a tight end, a running back, an offensive line. They could have done something to help him. They chose to replace him, and he responded with back-to-back MVP seasons to let them know, hey, I'm not quite as old and done as you think I am.
Yep.
But he said it on the podcast. It's escaping me. What the hell was the podcast that he
The Pat McAfee show?
Yeah, McAfee. Yeah. I'm telling you, my brain sometimes. But he's on the Pat McAfee show, and he said, "Look, the ball. Let's be real here. The ball started rolling. Like this whole thing started moving in 2020 when they drafted Jordan. And now the good news is he didn't Brett Favre him. He didn't treat him like he was a usurper and try to push him down. Right. Brett Favre was notoriously mean to Aaron Rodgers, so I guess." He remembers being on that end and like, holy cow, here I am. I'm in Brett Favre's shoes. I have a choice to make. I can handle this one of two ways. And he chose to support Jordan Love and be cool. And he said, look, it's not Jordan's fault. He didn't do anything, because he knows I didn't pick where I was going to go. They drafted me. What do you want from me? So he's now at a place where everybody loves him. Everybody, we're bringing over guys that he's played with, Lazard and Cobb and the rest. And we're building a team around him, and the area, the fan base, the city, everybody's embraced him. He's hanging out at Taylor Swift. He's going to see the Knicks. I mean, he's doing everything, and he's being well received. And he's like, you know what, this is awesome. He's still got it, and he's ready to go. I think, he feels respected, appreciated, right?
And I've been adamant on telling my wife Jessica. She's a Packers fan. I've been adamant on telling her, like, after they drafted Jordan Love, I think the Packers still succeeded on the offense of the ball purely out of Aaron Rodgers' spite. It was on his shoulders of pure spite, like, you bastards are going to go ahead and draft a quarterback when we were in the NFC Championship game, and you didn't get me any help. I think purely out of spite is why he was able to come back, and they had no choice but to re-sign him. They were like, damn, we can't let go of a back-to-back MVP, and they had to give him that fat contract on the back end. But I think their goal was to let him go after the following season and put Love in going into his year 2. But Aaron Rodgers was like, I'm going to play the best football I've ever played before and make this very, very difficult for y'all. And they had no choice. I think Aaron Rodgers, out of pure spite, willed that offense to be as good as it was because of them bringing in Love. So I can only imagine how he feels when he's 100% committed and wants to be where he's at, right? It's not just pure anger. It's more about wanting to be here and then playing well. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers with a chip on his shoulder is an incredible weapon to have. And even better, a healthy Aaron Rodgers with a chip on his shoulder. And I personally, I don't know about y'all, but I love it. I love all the people that are talking about he's washed. I love all the people saying like he's 39 years old. The Jets are not getting the best Aaron Rodgers. I freaking love it because he seems like the type that hears all of that and he's smiling, which is why I think you're seeing him in the gym freaking every other day. He looks rejuvenated, angry, and focused to prove a point, and that can only be good for us as Jets fans. So the more I hear people talk about him being washed and he's old, and we've all who watched tape realized, no, he had a team that couldn't catch a ball. But okay, cool. I love it because just piss him off more. He's the kind of guy that plays an angry Aaron Rodgers is a scary Aaron Rodgers. Let that man play pissed off.
Well, and we've seen it. We've seen him motivated by anger before. You know what I mean? Like it's like he's a spiteful fella. It looks like, man. Yeah. So it's a good thing. To know that, we're not fabricating this stuff. We've seen it. He was scorned by the draft. He thought he was going to be first overall. He ended up being in the 20s to Green Bay, sitting behind. He wanted to come in the league and start, and he didn't get to. He was pissed, and he was motivated. Then with the Jordan Love thing, we see it, man. He was considered washed. And he comes back to back MVP. Dude, that's something, man.
That's disgusting.
How the hell
this NFL?
Right. You cannot overstate that, like what that is. Tom Brady was still in the league.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you
Patrick
got
Mahomes
Russell Wilson was still flying around. Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's still. It's Aaron Rodgers back-to-back MVPs. And it's again, it's not to be over. It can't be overstated. Now, guys, I want to say Dom C. He's busting my balls about was that white? I thought it was green. But Dom sent me a beautiful signed Klecko jersey that will eventually be hanging right behind me. But I got to do it the right way. And Dom, like I told Dom, I said, yeah, thank you. Now I got to spend $300 on a fucking frame and everything else and whatever. I'm just busting this job. I do appreciate it. and it'll be there. I thought it was green though. Is it white? Is it? Oh, I guess that's. I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you're not going to wear it, it doesn't count, right? If it's just for display purposes, then it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about like jerseys you're going to wear. I think white should be obliterated for the fan base because, I mean, whether it's the wings, the pizza, the chili, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, too many things can go wrong rocking the white jerseys.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm gonna do it right in front of everybody. You'll see. I think I'm gonna I might go green. I might, but we'll see. Well, I got a bunch of greens, man. I want a white jersey. You know what I mean? So listen, I'm going to talk about something real quick. We got a few minutes until Jake Asman comes on the show. The great Jake Asman is going to hang out with us. But I want to talk to you guys about something real quick that, Gunny, I'm going to get honest here for a second. And I'm going to show everybody something. There's a new thing I want to talk to you guys about. Now, I went and got my testosterone checked, and it's like, so I'm missing some stuff. I'm 50 years old. I'm missing some things. This is true. It's a true story. And I go and get my testosterone check, and they tell me it's normal. I'm in the normal range, but I got in the, working out. I lost like a lot of vigor for a lot of things, right? And I'm like, there's something going on here, but I'm in the normal range, so I can't get a prescription. So now I can go outside to these specialist kind of things, but that's $300 to $500 a month, Gunny, to do. I'm going to be real straight. I don't have it. I don't have $300 to $500 a month for testosterone. So I start researching and I look all over the place, guys, and I found something and I want to share it with you. And there's a deal that we can do. If I put the link pinned in the top of the description, I'm going to show you guys this. This is, again, I've done research all over the place. There's lots of bull crap out there. This is a brand called Testosil. I'm taking it now. I have it literally right here for you guys. It's right there. If you click the link, you can save 10% on it. It's not even that much money. It's like $60 or something like that. And it's all natural. All the ingredients in there. You can boost your testosterone if you take it and you do any sort of physical activity up to 400%. And all the science is there. Everything's there. I did all the research on the ingredients, not just the brand. And the greatest news, guys, if you don't like it, if you take a month's supply and it doesn't do anything for you, you just send it back and they give you your money back. So again, it's not $300 to $500 a month. If you're in the normal range or, whatever, you're looking for a boost with your testosterone. I know most of the people that view this are men. So I think I have 3% women. So you can even talk to your husbands if you're out there about this sort of thing. It's a viable option. It's all natural. I am taking it. I already feel it. I'm telling you, maybe it's in my head just yet. I just started it, relatively recently, but man, I'm telling you, it's already making a difference and I'm psyched about it. And I wanted to share it with you guys. And the link is up there pinned. Take a look, check it all out, compare it to other testosterone boosters. And it's not like, the kind where you go to the gym and you become super. So it's not that. It's just normal, regular old folks, regular people. Testosterone booster, money back guarantee, save 10% by clicking the link. Guys, I was excited to share it with you guys. I'm excited about it. And again, that's my story, man. So Testosil, it's the real deal. All the ingredients are the good stuff. There's no synthetic. There's no chemicals. There's none of that baloney. It's all the best stuff. The ashwagandha is the main thing in there. And it's an extract that they put in there, that KSM 66. So anyway, guys, the link is in the description for you guys. I pinned it up top and you can get in there and you could try it out. If you don't like it, again, dude, get your money back, dude. It's all good. Click that link, save yourself 10%. And it's a good option, Gunny. So I don't know if you have a testosterone thing going on, but this is good. This is good stuff right here.
I mean, so it's FDA approved as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's rare to see when it comes to testosterone. Right, so only the proven and tested stuff gets approved by the FDA. Otherwise, they don't want to go ahead and stamp it because of potential side effects of using some of that not so good stuff. So,
that's right.
I mean, hey, I'm always trying to get bigger. Maybe you can go ahead and bring me back to when I was in the Marine Corps type status. So
yeah. I'm just looking to get back to where I just want to be not this. I want the motivation
want to put it back in
the damn gym. You know what I mean? That's my thing.
I like that. I'm going to look that up. Okay.
Yeah, so
Testosil.
Testosil, everybody. Again, the link's up top, and you can save 10%, and it's a money-back guarantee. I mean, again, $60, money-back guarantee. I'm telling you, I've done research like you wouldn't believe. I went to doctors, and they're like, no, you're fine. I'm like, I'm not fine. But they won't do for it. If you want to go to the specialist, I'm telling $300 to $500. I'm like, what? $480? I'm not paying you $480 every month, man. You know,
Wait,
so
hold on. So that it's not just to go see the specialist every single month for you to
like
what?
it's like to do all the testing and then
That's
get like if
ridiculous.
they say, oh yeah, you can use this and that and this.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
like whatever. I think one I talked to two. So one was like 3 and change, and one was I think 480, 460, something like that a month. To get, because you got to take, when you take this, then you got to take that because they counteract the other thing, and then one has little Cialis in it for this. I'm like, I don't want the Cialis. I don't need
It's
this.
too much.
It's too much shit.
Give me the booster.
That's right. Give me the booster.
Give me the
So
booster.
there it is. I'm leaving the link up there for you guys, and I know Jeremy's in on it. Jeremy's been talking to me about the gym every day for a year. He loves the gym, Jeremy, but he's just there's no pizza in there, so he struggles. I get it. Jeremy's like, there's no pizza in the gym. There's no ravioli in the gym. Why would I go to the gym? So I can understand that. Right, man. So anyway, guys, there it is. We're going to bring Jake Asman on in just a few minutes. He's about 2 or 3 minutes. He should be here. He's usually pretty prompt. So that's going to be real good. Slago wants to he's going a different route with this one. They're all talking about the nuts. I want the energy back, man. That's my thing. I want the energy back. I want the vigor back I want to be able, like when you go to it's like you lose it, man. You just lose it. But the thing is, it's not just for old people, man. I mean, lots of guys, they want a little boost to go to the gym and everything. This is the stuff. So anyway,
I know a lot of Marines who take testosterone boosters. A lot of Marines who, once they got out of the Marine Corps and you're not used to being in that environment where you're constantly not only motivated to, but kind of have to stay in shape, they take testosterone boosters to go ahead, like you said, just get the urge and energy necessary to go back into the gym. So now it's more common than people realize, especially if you use a specific lifestyle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to go to the gym 3 times a week. Now I'm only going 1 to 2 times a week. So maybe I might need a little freaking pick me up in order to go ahead and get back to my routine.
It is. I'll tell you what, man. I have everything I need right in my house, and I stare at it. My wife uses it every day, and she's a workout warrior. Me, I'm like, she's like, you want to work out with me today? I'm like, no. It's like, stop.
Pass.
We're not doing this. She stopped asking me. I used to go to the gym. 5 times a week. Not even that long ago. A couple years ago, I was going every day.
Now, when I was in the Marine Corps, it was an everyday thing. When I got out, I was just like, all right, that's insane. I switched to 3 times a week, and then I would do a cardio day. But I ain't gonna lie to you, like the last 6 months to a year, it's been 2 times a week, and then I'm dragging myself. It's more along the lines of just the discipline of it all. So I'm dragging myself to go to the gym. Vice before, I used to just love going to the gym because it was therapy. So yeah. I might need to go ahead and look into some Testosil.
There you go, man. Look, John says limit your eating. Fasting races I fast 16 hours a day, every day. I'm an intermittent faster, man. I've been doing that for a while. I only eat from 12 to noon. But when I eat, baby, I try. I got to be careful, man. I try to start my my eating regimen with either at Athletic Greens or I do these nutrient shakes things. Try to bring it on slowly, but sometimes you're hungry. I got chickens there. I eat a lot of eggs. That's what I do. I get eggs and avocado. That's what I do. But yeah, I don't eat for 16 hours a day, man. Most days. Every now and again, I'll find myself chewing on something. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's 9:30.
That is discipline.
Hard. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the whole intermittent fasting thing, you get used to it. You just stop eating at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to bed at friggin' 8 o'clock. So it's easy, And I'm at work. I don't take lunch. I never take lunch. There's people that, with all whatever, but people they leave work for lunch and I don't know. I don't know what that is. I really don't. When I was a landscaper, we did that.
Really?
But, yeah, no, Scott says the low T hasn't hurt. Well, technically speaking, I'm not low. That's what they say. I'm in the 750s or whatever the hell it is. They're like, you're right there, man. You're perfect.
Range. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel perfect. Why am I crying all the time? What's going on? What the hell's going on? King Blaze brings up a good point about, Sauce Gardner was number 2 on that cornerback list, but DJ Reed was on the list. Did you guys know that? DJ
saw
Reed, dude, that's a guy who, I mean, how important is that guy to this defense? Dude, DJ Reed is a stud. And not only on the field, but like his impact on the team.
Yeah.
What a leader he is.
Yep.
And he's a guy, in my opinion, should have been the other Pro Bowl cornerback when you compared him to Xavier McDaniel.
100%.
I mean, it was night
wasn't
and
even
day.
close. It wasn't even close.
It wasn't even close. And it's like, you look, I mean, somebody's making it on name, and we've seen it before, but somebody earned it. And
But
they're
the
not
media props
New
up the
York
Jets,
media.
right? But the media props up the Jets when clear as day the correct Pro Bowler was snubbed on the Jets
right.
because he's a
But
Jet.
what about the New York
Get outta
media?
here, man. That's
Well,
ridiculous
look,
to me.
speaking of the New York media, we're going to bring somebody. I want to hear what Jake thinks about
Jake.
DJ Reed. And why didn't the New York media help him? Jake Asman, why didn't the New York media that we've been hearing so much about lately, why didn't they help DJ Reed?
It's a great question. Well, maybe because the New York media typically looks to take shots at the Jets and not actually hype them up as
There it is.
Samuel tried to claim they do. Because, yes,
There it is.
The New York media loves to just hype up the Jets and say nice things about them and not try and exploit them for clicks and focus on negative storylines for attention. That never happens.
Right? I mean, it seems so backwards to me. It's kind of crazy. Jake, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you on. I really appreciate it. How you doing tonight?
I'm pumped. I love joining you guys, GB and Gunny. Great to see you
What's
again,
up,
my
Jake? How you
man.
doing, brother?
I hope you're staying cool. It's only 1,000 degrees in Houston.
It's
every
so
day.
hot in here, man. Ain't it, man? It's so freaking hot. It's taking longer and longer, it seems like, for my car AC to actually cool the car down as I'm driving home from work. It's summer's almost over. It's almost over.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
I'm doing well though, man. I mean, I'm in a much better mood now than I was pre-Quinn Williams extension news. So I got the Q jersey on tonight. I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of the contract? This is huge news. We were just talking about it last week, and people are worried and thinking, what's this Joe Douglas? Is he a cheapskate? Is he, what's going to happen? Is it going to happen before training camp? What do you think of the deal? What do you think of the whole situation?
I love it. And, I was listening to you on the Talking Jets panel, and you were like, look, I got to call it for what it is. If they can't get a deal done, I think it's a bad job by Joe Douglas. And I agreed with you. And I really think, Joe Douglas had every intention of getting this deal done before training camp. I don't know if the hard knock stuff maybe played into it, but I definitely think there was maybe renewed energy towards like, all right, let's make sure we get this done because we don't want, another potential distraction looming over, the start of training camp, especially with the hard knocks cameras there. So I always felt like it was going to get done like you. And it kind of felt like, the conversations were going well because we really didn't hear anything about it, which is usually a sign that maybe the sides are talking again. So it kind of felt like this was always going to get done. And I'm glad it got done with 6 days to go till camp. I think it's the deal that we all thought he'd get, right? He'd be second highest paid defensive tackle in the league. He'd be lower than Donald, but he'd be higher than everyone else that's already gotten paid this offseason. So I think it's a fair deal for both sides. Like if you're not going to pay Quinn Williams, who are you going to pay? So to me, it's a no-brainer by the Jets to get this done.
Right. And, we were talking about it earlier, like we were comparing it, a little bit of memory lane. Remember the whole Marcus May situation when a lot of Jets fans were upset, like his agent went public and said the Jets are lowballing us and all this sort of stuff. And it's like when you look at it, kind of using a little bit of hindsight, Joe Douglas valuing maybe one player more than another, the impact player. We were comparing a little bit the impact of Quinn Williams to this defense. And like you look at it, this is the kind of guy, in my opinion, that you want to pay, that it's a priority to pay. And it's not like, we've seen our GMs in the past. It's almost emotional. Well, he's been here for 3 years. Fans love it. Got to keep him around. And you just pay guys, and they're not necessarily the right guys to pay. And Joe Douglas has seemingly, created his value systems. Look, here's what I got yet. But Quinnen, on the other hand, we saw the game that he didn't play in, and it was a different defense. He's that valuable. You think Joe Douglas is doing a good job with this? Not necessarily being a cheapskate, but there are places that I value, the places where the money's going to go, and there are places where it's not going to go. I'm sorry. You think that's what's really going on?
There's something to that. I think it's also like, look who the head coach is, right? Like Robert Saleh loves Quinn Williams, says he's the heart and soul of the defense, says that he's perfect for what we do. Like, you go read the quotes they had from Saleh in the press release when they announced that they came to terms on a new deal with Quinnen. So, like, Marcus May played safety. Like, we've seen from Douglas, he doesn't value that position. Like, one of the first things he did when he got here was trade Jamal Adams. Like, it's not shocking to me that like the previous situations went the way they did, and then this situation you knew would be different because Quinnen Williams was the best player on the team last year. He's 25 years old, premium position, was voted team MVP, team captain. Like, if you're not going to pay him, who do you pay? So, to me, you had no choice. Like, it sends the right message to Sauce and Garrett and Brees and AVT, all these guys that you get drafted, you play well, the team that drafts you will take care of you, and that's exactly what happened here, and it's nice to know the Jets got it done.
Well, look, Hawk seems to think that you were involved in this, Jake. Did you mediate this deal? Is this a Jake Asman special?
Man, I did say on the show a lot that it'd be a 4-year deal, and I said it'd be $24 million a year. And there was one video I did where we went through, like, what the guarantee would be, and a couple people said, you literally predicted the exact contract. So, like, I'll take credit for it, I guess. I don't remember saying that verbatim, but if people are saying I nailed it, then who am I to judge?
Right.
Jake Asman had it first.
Well, right. Well, with all this amazing national coverage that the great Jake Asman has been getting recently, maybe Joe Douglas just said, hey, look, Jake has a good idea. $24 million a year. So, $66 million. What do you think? And they say, you know what? Jake's right. You know, they just
let it like Jeffrey Simmons was got what I think it was like 23.5 per year.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right, well, we know he's not going to go like Aaron Donald level 31 or 32, whatever that is. Why don't they offer a $24 million a year contract, and that'd be $96 million? And then I'm like, okay, well, the guarantees on Simmons's deal I think was $64 million. Let's go up to $66 million and call it a day. I think I literally said that in an episode, and that's exactly what the contract was. So I'm glad somebody's listening to me. I'm glad we got a deal done, Joe Douglas.
Right. If someone's going to listen, this is where it should happen. You know.
Now, can I get on Hard Knocks? Like, that's all I'm asking. I was on Hard Knocks in 2010 when they went to Hofstra at the cheeseburgers on the field. When Jericho Cotchery caught a touchdown in the corner, they panned the camera, and you could faintly see me in the background at Hofstra enjoying practice. All I'm asking for is for HBO 13 years later to get me back on the show. That's all I'm asking for. That's it.
Well, you have rights now. You have a claim to that spot.
That's right.
I think that's awesome. You know what's funny? We were just watching that. We just watched episode 4 of the 2010 Hard Knocks the other night with the Beanbaggers on Wednesday night. And it was the cheeseburger episode. So I didn't know to look for you. I wish I did. I would have paused it in slow mode and rewinded it.
You wouldn't see me. It is so faint and so blurry. I'll show the picture on the show in the future. It's actually hilarious. I made it my profile picture on Facebook back in 2010. That's how old this thing was. And people are like, what is that? It's literally just like a blur, and you can see like a kind of like a silhouette standing there. And I'm like, that's me on Hard Knocks. That's how big of a deal it was to be back in 2010.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you brought up Hard Knocks. That's another big story. We haven't gotten to that. So this is good. Now, we are now officially the team on Hard Knocks. They waited a lot longer this year to announce the team because it seems that they were getting kind of ping-ponged around. Nobody wanted it this year. They say, no, I think the Commanders were like, yeah, we'll take it. Like, nah, we have no interest really in what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You don't even have a quarterback. We don't know what the hell's going on. But so what are your feelings about being on Hard Knocks? As you know, Jets fans are kind of split. There's a lot of people that think there's going to be a huge distraction. They're worried about it. They don't like it. And other people are just psyched to be able to watch it. They think it's great. Where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I find it funny how Hard Knocks is now only a distraction because it's the Jets. But, you didn't hear crap about it when the Lions did it or the Browns or the Raiders or all these teams in recent years. I love it. I am so excited. Just like you guys, I rewatched all 5 episodes of 2010 Hard Knocks like last week, and I didn't even realize all 5 were on YouTube. I thought just the first one was there. So to actually watch episodes 2 through 5 and relive all that, I mean, it's incredible. And to everyone who says it's a distraction, I mean, the last time the Jets did the show, they made the playoffs. They haven't been back since. They went to the championship game. And, like, Rex Ryan and that team had way bigger personalities than this year's team. Like, to me, it's a bunch of nonsense. I think the reason why Saleh and the Jets didn't want it is because they already have one Jets drive. Yeah. And it's another thing that Saleh every week is going to have to sit down and deal with. And by deal with, it's not that big of a deal, but he still has to dedicate probably an hour of his week to meet with HBO and make sure whatever they have for that upcoming episode, he approves of. It's one less thing he doesn't feel like doing, and what's going to be, a whirlwind this summer with all the media requests and the attention that the Jets are going to get. So I understand why he didn't want to do it, but What am I supposed to do? Like, not be excited as a fan? HBO does a great job with this. NFL Films is incredible. And to anyone that thinks it's going to be a big distraction, I would encourage you to go listen to what Mike Tannenbaum said on ESPN today, where he said, I was originally against it. And then after we did it, I realized how great it was for us because guys practiced harder knowing they were getting the cameras on them. So I thought that was interesting. And Damian Woody, who played on the team in 2010, said HBO and the NFL Films, they do such a great job. You don't even know they're there most of the time. So I just don't understand this distraction narrative. If you're a Jet fan, sit back, enjoy it, and love the fact that you get extra content about your favorite football team, documenting everything before this team has a chance to maybe go out there and win a championship this season.
Well, I'll tell you, you know what's interesting? The thing, no one's talking about it but me. I don't know why, it's just me. But we have One Jets Drive just released yesterday. Oh yeah, we're going to be releasing our show on every Monday. Now, what do you think that dynamic's going to be like? This is their house. It's like, so HBO is going to walk in here with their cameras. You think One Jets Drive is going to give them a little bit of baloney? Can it get tested? No, this is where we stand. This is our spot. Or they're going to start. Maybe they'll film HBO. They'll be like filming. Like, hey, hey, we're filming you, buddy. We're gonna get you on ours. What do you think is going to happen with that, Jake? Any issues? Any pushing and shoving?
Well, to me, it's fascinating that they're moving up the date just to make sure that they get their stuff out there first. Because Hard Knocks is typically on Tuesday or Wednesday nights, and the Jets are like, well, we're moving One Jets Drive from Thursday nights to Monday night now during training camp. So, look. I think it's great, but we got to understand One Jets Drive is controlled by the Jets. Like it's the Jets narrative on things, which look, they do a great job. The production's awesome, but it's a different show than what you get in Hard Knocks. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you like Hard Knocks is TMZ and it's going to be gotcha journalism, but Hard Knocks, they're able to play curse words. Like you'll hear Robert Saleh say the F word. Oh my God. Like you're not going to hear that on One Jets Drive. So there's like a fundamental difference in just some of the things you're allowed to hear. And One Jets Drive, like, they're talking to diehard Jet fans on that show. We already know the storylines there. Hard Knocks is for a national audience that's maybe not plugged into the Jets. That doesn't realize, hey, Denzel Mims is fighting for his roster spot. That doesn't realize, hey, Mekhi Becton's missed the last 2 years, and now he's battling to come back. That probably doesn't realize, all the storylines with the Jets having the longest playoff drought in professional sports. Doesn't realize, the history of the Jets, how they haven't won since name it. Like they're doing a show for a national audience, and it's great stuff, but it's edgier. Whereas One Jets Drive is for people that know the team already, and they're going deeper into some of the storylines and personalities of guys we've already followed because we're sicko Jet fans that watch everything.
Right. We chew it up. We eat it up, don't we? And it's going to be interesting to see the difference, I think. Like what, like you said, I mean, we love it, and it is an in-depth look with One Jets Drive, but it's controlled. And it's almost, Ryan likes to call it the propaganda arm of the New York Jets. And it's like, while I don't think it's necessarily feeding us, twists and dishonest takes, but they're going to leave the negative stuff out. They're not going to say, oh yeah, and by the way, Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbricht were fist fighting in the office. They're not going to show that today. Not that happened to anybody, but they're not going to show that stuff. HBO will probably catch some of that sort of stuff. And again, even though the Jets have an opportunity to kind of control it somewhat, I think those types of narratives can leak out and come out through HBO where they're not going to.
They're going to show practice. Like the One Jets Drive barely shows highlights from practice. Like, and if they show practice, it's a highlight here or there, and then they move on. Hard Knocks is built on you're watching the guys on the field. Like that. That's the premise of the show. I could promise you, there's going to be a Zach Wilson redemption segment in Hard Knocks. One Jets Tribe's not touching that because it's negative. It's, here's the second pick of the draft. He's like, why would we spend time highlighting Zach? That doesn't sell tickets. Aaron Rodgers sells tickets. No, but the Hard Knocks, Zach Wilson's a really interesting storyline because here's a guy who was the second pick in the draft and is now backing up a 4-time MVP. What's his mentality? What's he going through? They'll focus on that, and you'll get the montage like we got in 2010 of like the Jets at practice, and how awesome is it going to be when we get to watch Sauce and Garrett Wilson go one-on-one with Rodgers throwing the ball. Like that's what Hard Knocks is going to give you that One Jets Drive just doesn't, because that's not the nature of what they cover.
Yeah, I love that. So I think that's an exciting way to say it too, man, right? We're going to get to see those practices. If you look at Hard Knocks, it is really, it's kind of focused on that. It's really heavy as far as the training camp battles and who's, maybe slipping or who's on the roster bubble, somebody coming up, trying really hard to work on things and make the team, and then seeing people when they get cut and released and all that. We're not seeing any of that.
Remember
That's
the
interesting
Terminator with John Connor and David Clowney
yeah.
trying to make the team? Like one Jets drive is not spending time on a Denzel Mims is going to make the team, but Hard Knocks will. So I don't think people are like, oh, we don't need Hard Knocks. We have one Jets drive. It's an entirely different show. And I really think the people that don't want Hard Knocks probably haven't watched Hard Knocks or maybe like forgot how good it was when the Jets did it in 2010. So like the nature of the shows or the two of them are completely different. So I'm pumped, man. Like, I can't wait. Like, if you're a Jet fan, why wouldn't you want more things to tune in that cover your favorite team? I'd rather this than being how bad they've been the last 12 years. Like, come on, man. Like, I really think I'm taking crazy pills every day when I get the pushback on. It's just big distraction, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, I've never been more excited for a season. And Hard Knocks, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, GreenBean. It went from 6 to midnight in my pants when we got that announcement. Like, let's go. I'm ready to go. I can't wait. Inject it into my veins. I'll probably watch every episode 3 or 4 times every week.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we're gonna watch it, talk about it, watch it again, talk about it. Then we're gonna see something else when we watch it a third time and go, did you see at 13 minutes and 14 seconds in, if you look behind the other, we're gonna do all that stuff. You know it.
Look, they're going to give you the Denzel Mims redemption segment, GB. You're going to be pumped.
Oh, dude. I know you mentioned the name, so now I have to talk about it. I was going to leave him out. Denzel Mims, I actually agree with you. I think he's going to be a storyline because we have this guy, 6'3", by all measures, should be a stud on there. They should be loving, right? But there's something missing, right? And we've seen it over the year, whether it's the food poisoning, whether it's the COVID, whether it's LaFleur, 3 positions, whatever it is. Denzel Mims is on the bubble. All right. It is. So we have this guy. Yeah, I'm not going to say a national name or anything like that, but he was a highly regarded draft prospect, and he went in the second round. And he should be something and he's flashed. He has flashed in both preseason and the regular season. But I think Hard Knocks is going to end up focusing on him a little bit. What's up with this? He's a little bit introverted, so he's not going to give them necessarily as many sound bites as maybe some other guys will. But do you think they're going to really put a focus on him? Do you think that's going to highlight some of the things that are really going on with him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are they going to talk about the salmon food poisoning thing from a couple of years ago? Probably not. But they're going to talk about him as someone that's trying to make the team the same way David Clowney was trying to make the team back in 2010. And you had the thing with him and Westhoff. So he'll be a storyline. What's interesting about this team, you got a lot of guys that have kind of that redemption type of storyline arc. Like in 2010, the Vernon Golston arc was something they honed in on a lot in Hard Knocks that summer. Like with this team, you got Becton. You have obviously Mims, who we've already touched on, but you go down the list, like Ashton Davis trying to fight for a spot on the roster. Like you could just highlight the 2020 draft class as a whole with a bunch of guys trying to make the team. And then the running back battle, right? Zonovan Knight versus Michael Carter. Izzy, how far can he move along? So there's a lot. And obviously I mentioned Zach Wilson. That's going to be, I'm telling you, there's going to be a tremendous amount of Zach Wilson truthers coming out of the woodwork after Hard Knocks, because they're going to make Zach look good. Like Hard Knocks is not out to try and make the teams they cover look bad. Like they show more things than you get on one Jets drive, but you still get an honest assessment of the team. So it's going to be fun, man. I can't wait for the actual preseason games, and the fact that the Jets have that Hall of Fame game means there's an extra Hall of Fame game, preseason game for them to cover. So I think it's going to be fun. I really don't see any negative with this. I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I tend to, and Gunny, I'm going to bring you in on this one. Now there are, like you said, Denzel Mims. I'm with you. I think we're going to get all kinds of Zach Wilson stuff, and the truthers are going to come out. We already know some of them. They didn't necessarily go away. I mean, a little bit, but they're still out there.
They're waiting in the weeds. They're like Hard Knocks, Zach Wilson. Oh my God!
For the opportunity to pounce.
That's right. They're just waiting. God forbid he completes a pass. It's going to be like, see, oh my God, he's a fucking king, and that's the way it's going to go. But who do you think is going to be like the Terminator for a large swath of that Hard Knocks, and for good reason? When he went on the field, laying people out, they had the windmill on the kickoff and all that kind of stuff. And Rex was big on talking about the Terminator. Who's going to be the guy that you think kind of comes out from nowhere and ends up being somewhat of the star of the show? It's like an unsuspecting guy. There's a comment in the chat that I want to bring up. But Jake, I'll start with you, and Gunny, I want to see what you think and see if you agree or disagree. Who's your guy you think is going to come out of nowhere?
I'll give you a player and I'll give you a coach. I think from a player standpoint, the Hard Knocks crew is going to really be in on the Michael Clemens bit. Jet fans love him, and it's going to be funny to see him scary and what he can bring to the table. It wouldn't shock me if they show some of the memes on Hard Knocks from the internet when they talk about Clemens. And then coaching wise, dude, Ron Middleton was made for Hard Knocks, man. The tight ends coach. Oh my God, he is going to be incredible on this show. If you remember in 2010. The Jets coaching staff was otherworldly with personalities, man. Mike Pettin was hilarious. Anthony Lynn was great. They had Rex, Schottenheimer. Like, these guys all had personalities, man. Like, Obrick's got a personality. He'll be great on the show. But I really think Middleton is going to be a guy that is going to emerge as, like, the funniest coach that people are going to love to interact with on the show every week.
That's a great pick, Middleton. I could not agree more. Gunny, where do you land on this one? I saw you kind of giggle a little bit with the Michael Clemens. Is that the same route you're going?
Jake Asman got both my guys. I think Clemens is going to be the John Connor, the Terminator, right? Like, this is a dude where we're all captivated with him purely based off of how he carries himself, how we've seen him engage with the crew on One Jets Drive. Like, we're all like, yo, this dude's an animal. And his size, his speed, his ability, and he played ball last year too. He became a favorite purely based off of that fierce. I was adamant on, hey, from now on, away games, he's the first one off the bus, last one on the bus. And he needs to be looking at the opposing team with his face and just kind of like execute and set the tone of what's going to happen. I think he's going to captivate the cameras and people who don't know who he is. He's going to become a household name for anyone who watches Hard Knocks. He's just that kind of a character. And in terms of the coach, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that Middleton – ever since he did the Senior Bowl, man, with the if it moves, hit it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it don't hit it, like that to me, to this day, I'm like, yo, this dude, if he was the head coach for the Jets, I'd be like, I'm psyched. Just because he knows how to pump you up, get you excited. Just the mentality of just like a old school type of mentality of a coach that thrives with our generation. It thrives with us. Like, we're like, yeah, I love to see it. I think Middleton's going to be fun to watch. So he said that, and I was like, damn it, man. I was hoping he didn't say at least one of the guys, and I'd have something to bring to the table, but both of my guys are the ones that Jake just brought up.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel the exact same way. Michael Clemens is made for this. I mean, remember his first press conference? It was like, well, he's a 4th-round pick. He watched the draft alone. He's not out, he's like not like outward. He's not an extrovert or anything. And he just stands on the podium and quietly blows the world away. You know what I mean? He had the nose ring in. He's kind of introspective and he thinks before he speaks. And they're asking questions and he doesn't answer right away. And they're like filling the space with another question. He just talks right over them. And he's just like, something about this guy. And then he comes into camp, Jake. He's 290.
I know.
It's not like he wasn't eating Taco Bell. This guy comes back.
He's ripped.
He's ripped. Yeah. I mean, Michael Clemens, man. What a specimen. And I think just his personality, because he's actually funny too. If you just wait a second and let him he's dry. Remember there was a clip last training camp where he like put his hand out to shake somebody's hand or something, and they walked away. So he shook his own hand, and then he realized the camera was on him, and he just he's like, but he was doing that by himself. He's like, okay, just shake my own. He's a funny guy, but I think, yeah, man, Michael Clemens. Now let me ask you, on a realistic level, 290, moving him inside. You think this is good? You think we should have just left him where he was and let him get better at the position that he was playing, or maybe add a pass rush move from the end? Or, I mean, what do you think about this whole Michael Clemens project? Is it good or bad?
I like it because I think he could play the position. Some guys, they add the pounds and they don't look like the same guy. Michael Clemens looks better at 290 than he did at, I think Ulbrich said he was around like low 270s last year when he spoke to the media during OTAs. So I think it's a worthwhile gamble from this standpoint. You're loaded at defensive end. Michael Clemens is good, but you need to create some more reps for Jermaine Johnson. You used the 1st-round pick on Will McDonald. So how do you get your best players on the field? Well, you lost Sheldon Rankins. So if you could replace some of his production by using Clemens inside more, using JFM inside more, and that allows you, because remember, you're expecting to be playing with leads in these games now late in the 4th quarter. You're not trailing. It's instead of being down 7, maybe you're up 7 trying to protect the lead. Like, there's going to be more pass rush opportunities so Clemens could get home up the middle. All of a sudden, you got Will McDonald on the field more. Carl Lawson needs to be on the field. Like, I just think it opens up this defense a lot more if they could get some more talent up the middle. And I think Clemens could do it. So why not try it?
Yeah. I think that's a great point too, man. Like, we're crowded on the edge, and like, the good news is, God forbid, what if an injury happens or something to Bryce Huff, Jermaine Johnson, McDonald, whoever, Carl Lawson, and you got Clemens, and he's a defensive end. You got JFM, you can play defensive end. So you have these guys that it's like versatility, right? It's the same thing with like the offensive line. When you draft somebody who can play center and guard, or like an AVT, he can play tackle and guard. He can play left tackle, right? Like, that versatility lets you kind of have a little bit more, some options when things do go bad. Maybe you can, you still have that kind of in your back pocket. I'm actually excited for Michael Clemens up the middle. I think he's made for it. I mean, he was somewhat of a one-dimensional on the edge. He was effective, but he was one-dimensional, bull rusher.
Yeah.
But stick that guy in the middle, he now becomes, slippery, as opposed, a little bit quicker than maybe the big body defensive tackles, the Al Woods of the world, the big old bellies and all those kinds of things. He's now a little bit more of an athletic defensive tackle. And next to Q, if we ever see that lineup, like a Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens, Quinnen Williams, Carl Lawson kind of a thing, holy macaroni. I'm getting excited.
I mean, it's crazy. By the way, I just thought of this. If they bring back Quan Alexander, he's going to be the guy that's going to be the funniest on the show, because that guy's got an incredible personality. I was just thinking about that.
And that brings me to an interesting point. There's a comment in here that maybe Jamie Sherwood is going to be featured a lot. Now, the Jets have put him out front recently with some articles, and there was a little bit of an uproar about a comment that he made, Jake. I imagine you've heard it, but Jamie Sherwood was asked about, how he feels, his position is on the team or what have you. And he said, hey, look, whatever I think, the truth is I have 25 snaps. So I'm at the bottom of the heap, but a hungry wolf is more dangerous than whatever the hell he said. So he was basically, I forget the end of it, but so people were upset that he said that he was bottom of the heap. Now, I think that's taken it out of context a little bit. He's just saying, like, realistically, who am I to talk anything? I got
people were upset about that. Oh my God.
Yeah, people were pissed. Like, this guy, what kind of attitude is that? He should be thinking he's the best. Blah 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 blah. I mean, look, I guess if you're taking it literal, I'm the bottom of the heap, and just leave it there out of all right,
he's trying to be humble. What is wrong with these people? He's trying to be humble and say, I got to earn my opportunity, but they haven't signed anyone yet. They clearly think he's good enough to be their third linebacker to this point. So he's going to get an opportunity. What I will say is to talk about John's comment there on the screen. There's a lot of storylines, man. They don't have time to cover all this. Like, we as Jet fans love it, but like, you got to remember, a Hard Knocks episode's like 54 minutes roughly, maybe a little longer. Like, they're going to play the hits early on. You're going to do Rodgers, you're going to do Saleh, you're going to do Zach Wilson, you're going to do Becton, you're going to do the collapse at the end of last year and the offensive line concerns. Like, that's going to be the focus early on. You're going to do the drought for the playoffs. Like, that's going to be kind of set in the scene. And then, there might be some time for some of these kind of redemption arcs that we were talking about, but they can't cover everything. Like, go back and you were watching it with your followers, GB. Like, Sean Ellis and David Harris, were they featured in Hard Knocks for a second in all 5 episodes? No. And those were two of the best players on the Jets for a decade. And they weren't even they didn't even exist in Hard Knocks in 2010 if you watch. So they can't cover everyone. So that would be the other thing I'd warn Jet fans for. Like, if you think you're going to get hours upon hours upon hours of like all your favorite players doing deep dives, they don't have time for some of that stuff.
Yeah, well, I tell you, that's a great point. Sean Ellis, man, it's funny when we were watching it. There's one scene in particular where Sean Ellis is like in the background. And I went, oh, yeah. I literally said it out loud. Oh, yeah, Sean Ellis. Like, it's just, he was completely absent.
No, Justin Keller, completely. Like, they had like one scene with the shake weight. That's it. It's like they did a lot of Sanchez in 2010. They did a ton of Rex. They did Bart Scott. They did Chris Jenkins. They mention DeBrickashaw Ferguson once in the 5 episodes? No, they did Nangle because he was great, but they're not going to be able to do everyone. So it's like, you got to, like, if you're HBO and you're forcing the Jets to do the show, because you're going to play the hits with the things that people nationally care about, which is Rodgers, Saleh, playoff drought, Zach Wilson, and some other stuff like that gets the headlines.
You think we got time for Tipman's mullet? Or what do you think about that? You think you're gonna?
Oh, I need that because they spent a lot of time with Mangold in 2010.
They
So you
did.
got to pay it. You
That's
got to pay
right.
it forward. You got to pay it forward. So I'm in.
That's right. Well, hey, we still got to sign Tipman, guys.
Right.
We have to sign Tipman and Will McDonald. Any concern there, Jake? What do you think?
None.
Should we worry?
0. I'm not worried. It will get done. It's one of those things where it's like I'm down in Houston. I cover the Texans. C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson and haven't signed their deals yet. Like it will get done.
Yeah, Tipman. I feel the same way. I'm not too worried. Joe Douglas. I mean, look, guys, you don't have to love him yet. I mean, there's still the people out there talking about his record and all that jazz, and you can't argue it. I mean, it's you could say what I always say, which is like you're ignoring the fact that he was tearing the team down. You know what I mean? He was getting rid of people. Like he was, we had our pillars when he got here. Number one, it was Adam Gase, right? So we had Adam Gase, we had Frank Gore. We had Sam Darnold. We had Jamal Adams. Like these were Leo Williams. These were the pillars of the New York Jets. Remember when they did the new logo jersey release?
Yeah.
Remember?
The pain, the jersey, the photo. No one on the team is left from that infamous jersey release photo. The worst.
Yeah. Well, when we had to put Chris Herndon up there, it was like, yeah,
Cool.
we're not doing much. I mean, it's whatever, Chris. Whatever you thought about him, but it's like that's what we're putting up front. It's
And
like,
by the
Chris,
way, Joe Douglas got a 4th-round pick for that guy.
yeah, think of that.
A 4th-round pick for Chris Herndon, Stonehands Herndon, as I called him.
And
That's what Joe Douglas did.
And he did nothing for the Minnesota Vikings. Nothing.
The Jets have the guy who actually emerged that year and was better than Herndon. His name is Tyler Conklin. They signed him.
There you go.
Crazy.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling you, not too bad. But it's like the whole thing with Joe Douglas. Like, we got to give like our quick fix thing, our Ralph Cramden-esque, hey, every episode of the Honeymooners had like Ralph Cramden, like, I know we're going to do this. It's going to work. It's like the whole, get rich quick kind of thing. It hasn't worked for 12 years. Like It just doesn't work. Can we just take it down, do what the Ravens do what the Steelers do? You'd focus on your drafting. You be, smart with your money. You don't just overpay somebody because he's been here for 10 minutes. And then you just give it time. Incrementally, it's been getting better, right? Are you a Joe Douglas believer, Jake?
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to, call out his mistakes and criticize stuff. But by and large, Joe Douglas is the best thing that has happened to this franchise since Rex Ryan. Like, let's call it for what it is. Like, he has resurrected this team from expansion level talent when he first got here to a team that, in my opinion, has one of the 10 best rosters in the NFL. And ESPN recently did a whole story on this where the Jets were in the top 10 for rosters in the league. And out of the 10 teams, they were the second youngest team on that list, meaning with Rodgers at quarterback and Dwayne Brown at left tackle, you're still the second youngest elite team in the NFL. Like, This is only the start of things. Like, yes, Rodgers is old, but let's say he gives you 2 or 3 years. Like, they should have a competitive window now with this core to make a real run at it. And, like, they have not had that in forever. Like, you had the flash in the pan run at the end of 2015 where you won 10 games, but you choked the last week. And other than that, this team's been abysmal. Like, they've had one winning season during this playoff drought, and I don't even feel good about 2015 because of how it ended. So, like, this team has an sustainable this year and have sustainable success for the next couple of years if they handle things the right way. So look, is Joe Douglas perfect? No, but I think he's very good. And I look at like Howie Roseman, right? Everyone says he's the best GM in the NFL. I agree. He drafted Carson Wentz. It didn't work. Made a mistake. He rectified it. He got Jalen Hurts. Howie Roseman went out there and he took Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. It didn't work. Big mistake. But what did he do? Well, he traded for A.J. Brown. He drafted Devontae Smith. And look at the Eagles now. So it's like no GM bats 1,000, but if your GM could get way more things right than he does wrong, he's pretty good at his job. And I think that's
Well, I agree with you, man. I think, right, like it's like you can't be a full homer, right? Full homer is rough, everything's great. But it's like it's okay, right, to point out misses. And, up to this point, Zach is a big miss. I mean, it's like we had to go out and pay $675 million for a 39-year-old quarterback, which we're all excited about and all that jazz. But I think optimally, it would have been that Zach could be this good. That
Oh,
was
of
the
course.
whole thing when you use the second overall pick. That is a whiff, at least up to this point. Maybe this reset plan works. It'd be the first time ever if it worked like this. I mean, this is
Don't
just
tell that to the truthers. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to
Hey,
use logic.
Hey,
Don't
man,
feed 'em.
right?
Don't feed him, Green Bean. Don't feed him.
No, I'm not trying to, I promise. But it's a funny thing. Like, who's not rooting for it, right? Okay, you want to keep him, you want to reset. Of course, I'm rooting for it. But we got to be clear here. This would be the first time that ever happens. You draft a guy, he starts for 2 years, he's just awful. You put him on the back burner, you keep him, reset, he comes in and he's good. Like that, it would be the first time. It just doesn't happen. So it would be brilliant.
But I'm sure the Jets will be the team where it happens for the first time because the Jets just have this rich history of lucky
of development. Right. We have this rich developmental history. Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if we're gonna turn a corner, I mean, why not? It's like, look at that night on a unsuspecting Thursday a few months ago. We saw Joe Klecko finally get the nod in the Hall of Fame. We saw a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is rare for us. Then we saw offensive and defensive rookie of the year, all on the same night. Then we follow that. We go and get Aaron Rodgers. Like it's kind of, there's some corner turning going on right about now. Why not turn the corner all the way to Zach Wilson being the first ever to do this weird, wacky plan that they got going on? Hey, man, maybe it's a whole new, maybe we're talking dynasty, Jake. Maybe this is maybe the Steelers. Who knows?
Man, I just last year my hope was, can they win a game in September? Can they be relevant post Columbus Day? And now it's like, hey, this team could legitimately win a championship. Like, it is unreal where the expectations are right now. And by the way, in your comments there about how great everything was with Klecko and Revis and Sauce and Garrett and getting Rodgers, in the middle of all that, you had Darrelle Revis and Joe Klecko having some sort of beef because the Jets can't just have two Hall of Famers going without any drama. We had to get some Klecko Revis back and forth, whatever the heck that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear about that. I don't know what that was. Look, Jake, the smoke has settled a little bit, right? You did your national tour, and rightfully so. Everybody needed to talk to you because what you did there was amazing.
Incredible.
It's just, and we all applauded you. We
Thank you.
We love you. We love how you did it. It was just a wonderful thing that you put together there. But so now the smoke has settled. You had some time to kind of look at this from all different angles and everything. What are your thoughts about that whole thing? We saw Revis kind of come back into the fold, defending Sauce and all that this week. We feel a little bit better. But what does that all look like to you now? How do you feel about that? Is it water under the bridge? Is it going to be a thing going into the Hall of Fame? Where do you stand?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a thing. I think it was kind of the perfect storm of, if you remember, there was literally nothing going on in the sports calendar when that was going on. Like it was like right after NBA free agency, like the Knicks and Nets didn't do anything significant. So there was like nothing to talk about basketball wise. The Yankees and Mets have been, the Mets have been incredibly underwhelming. The Yankees have been, disappointing. And there just wasn't a lot going on. So I think that added some juice to it. I just don't think it's a big deal. I think when we get to Canton, like Revis and Klecko will hug it out, and they're going to be with their friends and family the whole weekend, and it's going to be a nothing burger, to be honest. Like, it was awesome that we got both them on the show in a span of 48 hours and got to interview them about their careers and whatnot. But as far as like the drama when we get to Canton, like I don't think it's really going to be brought up at all. I do hope Hard Knocks maybe plays some of the interviews when they cover the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. Like, that'd be pretty sick. Selfishly, I'm rooting for that. But
imagine that, Jake. That'd be amazing.
Sick. Hey, I don't know who I got to talk to at HBO and NFL Films, but if I get full consent for you guys to play anything from the show, I want that on the record here. But I think it's gonna be great. Like, I'm going to Canton. I can't wait to be there. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but to any Jet fan that's going, Matt O'Leary, myself, and Boy Green,
right? We
have a reserved a spot at a very cool sports bar like venue Friday night in Canton. So all the details are on our social media platforms. Free admission for any Jet fan that wants to come. So it's going to be like a huge party, man. I'll go watch Zach Wilson hopefully throw 3 touchdowns against insurance salesmen in the Zach Wilson Hall of Fame game. And then, the next day we'll have a good time on Friday and then watch Revis and Klecko on the ceremony on Saturday. So it's going to be an awesome weekend. I can't wait.
That's going to be epic, man. I will admit, and this is not something that I would say often, but I am downright jealous. Okay. I'm upset.
Not too late to join us, GB. Not too late.
I can't pull it together. It's crazy with everything going. It's the worst. It's funny because my wife, like, as soon as it happened, like, she was like, oh my God, she had an Airbnb. She had like 3 hotel ops. She had everything done. She's like, you going? And we're like, yeah. And I couldn't piece it all together with everything else. It's brutal, dude. But this is what's going to happen.
You've done your show from the Hall of Fame too. Like you know that place better than anyone. Yeah.
I had access. I mean, I have people in there. I could have went in there. Dude, they gave me such I don't say red carpet, but they gave me a very loving and warm welcome. They walked up, dude, they stayed with me the whole day. They gave me this beautiful room where people walked by and, like, you know, with my lights and everything, filming, like, everybody's like, who's that fucking weird looking dude in there? It was like then they walked us around. They like showed my son, like, you know, secret little rooms and stuff. Like, it was like, what a beautiful thing. And I'm like, of course I'm going to go. And I couldn't put it I'm down. I might cry that night, but I'm happy for you. I'm happy.
I'm going to FaceTime you with O'Leary. We're going to FaceTime you from the listener party. It's going to be wild.
Hey, wish you were here, dude.
Hey, you're going to be with us in spirit. It's going to be a great time.
That's so cool. Now look, I want to point something out. There's an elephant in the room. Okay. And Main Catch brings it up. Says, why won't it let me leave a super chat? I want to make sure that I say this out loud. I said it at the beginning of the show, but I'm currently in YouTube jail, Jake. I am.
Are you really?
They demonetized me. They demonetized me because I was throwing up, like, it's the off season. I was throwing up some shorts. I was like from Instagram. I was just throwing stuff up there, putting like Jets fans on it, whatever. You know, I was just doing something like that. And I guess I put up a Beatles song. One of them had a Beatles, and the Beatles don't play. And they didn't give me a strike. They just demonetized me. So I had to appeal. I'm waiting to see if, I'm like brokenhearted. I don't know what to do. I was going to see if maybe you could talk to somebody at YouTube.
Man, I don't even know. I don't know anyone. You would probably know more than me. Like, I'm a radio guy that has like figured out how to like barely get like a ring light and turn my my camera on here, man. If I didn't have the great Gator sending me my intro and like some of the graphics I use, I'd be helpless, man. I don't know how to do anything. That's terrible. How do they not give you a strike or just say, hey, take the video down and you can have your account back? That's ridiculous. Hashtag free GreenBean. We got to get it on Twitter.
I know, man. You know,
that's crazy. When did this happen? How long have you been demonetized?
About a week. I'm thankfully, because I wasn't putting up content I just chose to like say, all right, I'm going to take an actual break. And I was just throwing up those shorts because they're quick. I was just going right from Instagram. Right. And it turns out that's not allowed. So I was like, okay, I just never looked. So that's on me. But I just happened to last night after the beanbagger thing, I said, I'm going to make a video. And I made a video and I'm like, where's the monetize? Where's the thing? Like, where's the ad thing? Where's all the stuff that I do? And then I looked and I'm like, it said like you, and then people were saying to me like, hey man, my membership got paused. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe your credit card. I was complete, it was over my head. I had no idea,
wow.
But thankfully, cause there's a time limit on it for me to appeal. If I just didn't see it, then they would get me, they would say, hey man, you didn't even try. So I'm grateful that I had, I filmed the video with an appeal. I had to show them that I have, a setup, I'm not just stealing stuff. Hopefully they consider, I said, if you take a look at my channel, man, I
talking about the jets and roller coasters. What are we doing here? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't steal much. If I steal anything, Jake Asman, he said it was okay. And he said it was okay. I played your Klecko clip.
So YouTube put you in the shadow realm, essentially, is what you're telling me.
That's right. That's right.
I was thinking it. I really was thinking it. I was just like, he got put in the shadow realm.
I mean, that's brutal, man.
So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. I want to appeal to YouTube. Like, we joke and everything, but I'm a nice guy over here. I'm just talking. I make all my own stuff. I have a mic. I have lights, cameras.
Yeah, you were in the Beatles. It was you, Paul McCartney, John Lennon. Like, you were right. Ringo.
That's right. Man, come on. I'm that old. I'm just an old man out here talking football. I said in the video, so I said, it's been a rough go. It is an exciting time.
The Jets finally are going to be good.
Not
And you're not allowed to
now.
make videos. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
like,
even think of that.
please. I
Look at
literally
Aaron
said that.
Rodgers. It's like, well, you're shit out of luck. That's funny.
Yeah, I said,
But it's not actually funny. We got to get
No.
your channel figured out. I don't know anyone at YouTube, but if I could like find out any information, I'll be sure to hit you up and do anything.
Yeah, let me know, man. I'm in the shadow realm. That's where I am. I'm in the shadow realm. And I hope they reconsider. I mean, they should. I mean, I never even got a copyright strike before. So it's like, I don't know. But anyway. So yeah, man. So we have training camp coming up, Jake. Now we only have a few minutes, but and it's funny because it's the title of the whole video. But training camp, and we talked a little bit about this on when I was on your show on 4th of July, which was awesome, by the way. That was a good time. Number one training camp battle, like as we get closer, we've kind of hashed out a lot of stuff. For Jake Asman, what's the battle? Who's the players that you're most interested in seeing when we start on the 18th?
Well, Rodgers is because it's Aaron Rodgers wearing a Jets jersey at practice. Like, it's never gonna get old for me. So just like seeing the highlights of the Jets post and then watching it on Hard Knocks and One Jets Drive and whatnot, I'm gonna be locked in to him. But as far as like the battles, look, Dwayne Brown versus Mekhi Becton versus Max Mitchell. The receiver situation I think is interesting, right? Mims fighting for a spot with like Jason Brownlee and maybe some of these other undrafted guys that are kind of fringe roster guys at the receiver spot. Like, does Charles Irvin have a legitimate chance to make this team? Like Xavier Gibson, like Jerome Cap, like some of these guys I never thought I'd be talking about, but the hoopla is, hey, maybe they got a chance, and Hard Knocks will tell that story, which is cool. So I think that's the most interesting thing, right? But to me, like the offensive line is like, I think the most paramount part of what we see in training camp. Is Joe Tippmann going to win the center job over Connor McGovern? I think he is, but we got to see it. So to me, the real battle is like, all right, the Jets offensive line versus health, and then the Becton, Dwayne Brown, Becton, Max Mitchell, Tippmann versus McGovern storyline. I'll be locked into.
Gunny, what are you thinking? Are you honed into the same spots that Jake is? You think Max Mitchell's going to push Becton? Like, we're all wondering if Becton's going to push Brown, but then Mitchell comes in and pushes Becton. What do you think? Where are your eyes going to be on training camp?
I actually said the exact same thing last Monday on DK, the New York Jets Flight Squad with me, DK, and Italy Jet. I think Max Mitchell is going to be a surprise, and I think that Dwayne Brown is secured as the left tackle, and it's going to be Becton against Max Mitchell for right tackle. And to me, the kid played well enough last year for us to be like, damn, at least he kind of saved us in the bind. And coming back from, a devastating potential health scare that could have ended his career, you got to think about what that does to a man's mentality, right? There's a level of appreciation now for his ability to just get back on the field to be able to play this sport. That to me, that level of thought process and extra incentive may push a guy like Mekhi Becton on the right tackle spot, especially when you realize he doesn't really want to play right tackle. Keeps saying he's a left tackle. He has to earn it, right? And I think Max Mitchell has an edge. I do believe, I said this last week on the show, I said I think Max Mitchell could potentially be our right tackle going into the season. Call me crazy. And I'm shocked, to be honest with you, that Jake agrees. But I really think that could be a scenario we're seeing.
Look, if Becton is not healthy or Dwayne Brown's not healthy and all of a sudden Becton's the left tackle, like Max Mitchell versus Billy Turner, like it could happen. I mean, like that's where I'm kind of at with the offensive line. Like, I don't think it's as bad as like maybe the perception is by some Jet fans or maybe people nationally, like, oh, these Jet fans think they're going to be good. Your line sucks. Like, I don't know if it sucks. I mean, there's just questions because of all the injuries. Like, no team in the NFL had, 8 tackles spend time on IR last year like the Jets did. Like, no team in the NFL used more different offensive line combinations than the Jets did. So, there's questions, no doubt, and they got to be answered if they're going to have a chance to be good in a positive way. But they have depth. They certainly are a better unit than they were a year ago. There's no doubt about that.
It's a great point, though, too. It's like when you look at the questions, right? We have 55-year-old Dwayne Brown with a rotator cuff surgery recently. So he's coming off that. Then you got Laken Tomlinson, who we were all excited. He was my number one free agent that year. I mean, number one. I wanted.
You're the reason why he was bad last year. Now I know.
Maybe that is what it is. But it's like, I wanted a guard. Like, if we get nothing else, I want a guard. This whole Van Roten experience. We need a damn guard. And Laken Tomlinson comes in the same system, blah, blah, blah. So, but he had himself an interesting little year there where he wasn't exactly the guy we thought we were going to get. So he's a question mark. Then you got Joe Tippmann. I mean, he's a rookie. I mean, I think he'll beat out Connor McGovern. Hopefully he can. If he can't, that's an issue that I don't want to have to deal with. So you got a rookie. Then you got AVT, who hasn't finished the season yet. Then you got Becton or Mitchell. Both of them were injured, blood clots for Mitchell. And so there's questions along the line. That said, if these guys are healthy, dude, this could be an elite offensive line. That's the truth of it. So it is exciting. I just hope that there's, last year, hopefully we got all that damn tackle injury shit out of our system, because I've never seen anything like it. There was nothing like it in the league. I've never seen 6 and 7 offensive tackle. We were taking a Boogie from the Texans practice squad or wherever he was, and he's starting against Von Miller 2 weeks later. It's like, holy mackerel.
AVT played 3 different positions on the offensive line. He got hurt in week 7. He started at 3 different spots in the first 7 games. That's
telling.
It was ridiculous, man. I have the numbers here because I always reference this. They had 6 starting offensive tackles spend time on injured reserve. Dwayne Brown played 12 games with an awful shoulder that he could have shut down at any point for surgery. He played through it. George Fant, remember him, played 8 games on a bad knee before they shut his ass down. They started 11 different players and 9 different combinations on the line. When Zach Wilson's your quarterback and that's your offensive line, you're not winning. So that's why it fell apart. It was brutal, man. There's no way they could be that snake bitten again on the O-line. I just refuse to believe that's going to happen.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. You know what I want to see? I want to see everybody healthy. And Dwayne Brown healthy, everybody's healthy, and I want to see Becton beat him. And I know if he's healthy, he's likely to be the starter. I get it. I'm not denying that. But what I want to see is Becton steal his left tackle spot. I want to see an animal in preseason, like that guy that we had his rookie year when he was yelling at the sideline, "Run behind me!" He was, neutralizing the Bosa brothers and everybody else that went again. I want to see that guy pushing guys off the screen where they look at each other and they go, "Dude, we cannot keep this guy. We have to. He's the best option." Because I'll tell you what, having Dwayne Brown as your backup, and I don't care about the money. People say, "Oh, the $12 million." Dude, I don't care. I could care less about how much Woody Johnson has to pay somebody to not play. I don't care. He doesn't, let him. He's got the money. It's in the cap, whatever it is. He's already on the roster. If he ends up being the backup, we're not in too bad of a situation at left tackle. I'm excited. That said, I just hope Becton's on the line and he's healthy and he plays, and it's going to be exciting. What do you think? Now, you brought up the wide receivers. You brought up Irvin, who I was told, I'm sure you were told, the coaches actually dig. They're into this guy, Charles Irvin. He didn't look too good last preseason, had a bunch of drops and everything, but supposedly he's really put the time in and the work in, and he's looking good, and this particular staff likes him. Any chance he's the guy, or maybe Brownlee, and they push Mimsy off the damn roster? You see that happening, Jake? What do you think?
I look, this might break your heart. I don't think Mims is on this team. I think he's traded or cut. He doesn't play special teams, and these other guys behind him probably are better at special teams than he is. So I just don't see the spot for him. I think the Jets have room for – look, you got to assume health. Obviously, if someone gets hurt, then – it changes the equation for what the 53 looks like against the Bills. But Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Corey Davis, Mecole Hardman, Randall Cobb. You got 5 set. So are they carrying more than 6 receivers? No, I don't think. They probably got 4 tight ends they got to carry if you want to keep doing.
And everybody wants 5 running backs. They want us to bring in Cook and keep Bam Knight.
It's this is actually a pretty good problem the Jets have. It's called having maybe too much talent. Like last year, look what happened. They had a bunch of guys get claimed by other teams because they actually have a pretty good roster. This was a playoff team last year. If Zach Wilson wasn't inept, I hate to be that blunt, but they literally lost 4 games last year that Zach Wilson started where the starting defense allowed 3 touchdowns. So this is a good football team, right? They have a good roster. So there's going to be tough decisions that I'm sure, Jets Twitter and YouTube commenters are going to be up in arms about when, in the grand scheme of things, if the line is healthy and Aaron Rodgers is Aaron F. and Rodgers, they're going to be a good team, and they're going to have a chance, regardless who wide receiver 6 is or who tight end number 4 is. So I'm just not going to get that stressed out over like the bottom of the roster stuff this summer, as long as the main stuff is the main stuff, which is Rodgers, Sauce, the stars on this team are healthy, ready to go.
Yeah, and I do agree. You know, like I'm not deranged, right? Like I can see, I have eyes, I have relative intelligence. You know, so I'm not blind. That said, I want him on this damn team, and I want Mims. You know what I really want? I
hope he dominates, man. I hope the Hall of Fame game is known as like the Denzel Mims Invitational. Like I really want him to be great. Like I love the pick when they made it, but yeah, I'm not getting sucked in by the Mims thing again. Like I just at some point it's like you gotta like Zach Wilson has scored more career touchdowns than Denzel Mims. Like these are just facts. Like I want Mims to be good. I was a big fan of the pick, but like I'm just not gonna lose sleep if they choose Charles Urban over Denzel Mims when they cut down the roster.
You know, I fancy myself someone who doesn't like to get dug in to now. Like I'm always open for new information most of the time, right? I don't get locked into a position no matter what it is. I'm so dug in with Denzel Mims. It's like when you buy into a cult leader, right? It's like, you got your guy and he's proven, to be shady and he's taking money and you're like, no. Like, but it's right here. It's just written.
That's your guy. Yeah.
It's like, no. He's my guy until he's cut or traded or whatever. I'm riding the Mims. I know. I hear you, man. I just got
you're on the wrong side of history, though, because Jets Forever is on the Mims side. And I don't really want to be aligned with that guy.
I know. In fairness, though, I got to give him one because he's the Zach Wilson. In fairness, he did the whole pre-2022 draft. He was Sauce Gardner's going to be our pick. Garrett Wilson's going to be our second pick. He nailed it. You know what I mean? So
he said Zach Wilson was going to be Joe Montana. He'd go 17-0 last year.
Yeah, he's still saying that. So I'm with you. I see it all. Again, not the ring, just a little bit slap happy. So look, we're at the end of the show, man. I want to thank you for coming on. Why don't you tell what do you got coming up? Who you interviewing next? Who can we get excited? You had Greeny on, you had Klecko, you had Revis. You're the place to go for us when we want to see some really good stuff with some great guests. Who you got coming up? What's exciting in Jake Asman's land?
All right. So I have a significant career announcement that I'm going to be making on the show tomorrow. So I've been waiting to share. It's been a busy week, but I got some big things brewing there. It will involve a Jets related guest coming on the show. So I'm just going to tease it that it's coming. So I'm excited about that. And, I'm working on trying to find a date with Tony Richardson right now to get him on the show. So that's kind of in the works right now. I'm trying, and it's been a battle. Like I'm going through like back channel. I'm trying to get Rex on. That's my number one goal. So working on that. But I mean, honestly, like we've made it. This last like month, it's like trying to come up with like different content things to talk about. But between Revis and Klecko and that whole thing, the Quentin Williams drama, the Hard Knocks, like it really has not been that slow. Like even in the slow months, there's always been seemingly something to get into. So like once we get to camp next week, like it's gonna be nuts. So I'm just gonna be able to dive in, reacting to the news that everyone wants to talk about. So I'm pumped to do that.
Now, Gunny, I want to hear your prediction real quick. I'm predicting that, and you don't have to say anything, Jake. All right, but I'm predicting that we will learn that tomorrow Jake Asman has Joe Douglas on his show. That's what I'm predicting. Right. Again, no reaction from Jake. He's very, flat affect. It's appropriate. Gunny, what do you think? Who's Jake? Who's he scoring?
I think he's working on getting Ron Middleton. I think Middleton will be on the Jake Asman show.
That would be
I've been waiting for it, but I think that's going to be one of the coaches we see on the Jake Asman show, and I'm waiting for it.
I'm here for that.
Well, by the way, did you see Robert Saleh officially played golf today with Joe Beningo? How awesome is that?
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I got to text Joe and find out how that went. I can't wait to hear him talk about it on his podcast. But like that's been in the works for like forever. They finally got a date and they played today, so I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, that's super cool. So I wanted to say hello to Boy Green. I see you out there, man. Good to have you here, man. Always.
He'll be on our FaceTime with O'Leary from the listener meetup at the bar when we're in Canton to you.
Yeah, it's one more foot to kick me in the nuts.
Tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m.
There you go.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Oh man. He asked if I could do that show, and I said I'm a little tied up this week, but next week I'm going back to New York for a little while, and I'm like, you know what? A 7:30 wake up call is a little better than 6:30 a.m. Central Time, Gunny. So I feel your pain tomorrow.
Yeah, he got me.
Yeah.
got me.
Hey, I know this is the first time in a long time I don't have to wake up at 3:30. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good.
3:30.
But
Damn.
It's brutal. It's brutal. I got
What
to
do
be
you
honest.
do you drink caffeine when you first get up? Like, how do you get through
I
the
do.
day?
I drink black coffee because of my intermittent fasting. So I have really good beans. I grind them. I French press them, and it's high potency. And I got a 45-minute ride. About 20 minutes in, I go, I'm driving. That's what I do every time. Oh my God, I'm in the car.
Wow.
Holy shit.
You could do the Adam Gase smelling salts. You know, that definitely could work for you.
Hey man, Joe Rogan talks about. I've been contemplating it. It's been a long time since I messed with smelling salt. Those dudes, they do it. I don't know if you ever messed with them, Jake. They are the real deal, boy.
No, I've never done it.
Never.
My fear is if I do it, like part of like the Gase lore will rub off on me. And I don't want
Right, you don't even want it. I don't want any of
mess with
it.
it.
None of it. None
He
of
said
it.
hard pass. Hard pass
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, it wakes people up from unconsciousness. They go, oh, like that tells you all you
That
need
should
to
tell
know.
you something.
That
Right.
should tell you something. Jake, I want to thank you for hanging out with us. Jake Asman on YouTube, Jake Asman, Houston, ESPN, radio as well. Always a pleasure, my friend. We'll let you go, and then I'll do the little goodbyes with Gunny and Jeremy, who's in the background helping us out. But Jake, thanks again. We look forward to your big announcement tomorrow. We're all anxiously and excitedly waiting to hear what it is. But thank you, and have a great night, buddy.
I appreciate it, guys, and it's going to be exciting. Jet fans, you guys are going to be pumped about this one. So that's my my little teaser on the way out of here. But always fun to chop it up with you guys. Hopefully, next time we do this, it's after a big Hard Knocks episode, and we're all having a glorious time watching Rodgers slinging it to Garrett Wilson at a training camp practice. I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome.
Jake
awesome. Asman, everybody. Thanks, Jake. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
There he goes. Jake Asman, ESPN Radio, Houston, and the obvious Jake Asman YouTube channel. You got it. I mean, dude, he's a king. He's the king, right? So let's say hello to our boy Jeremy real quick. What'd you think of that? What do you think of Jake, Jeremy? No, wait. You're muted.
Jake is amazing. I mean, he's the man. He's the man. So always great to have him on the show and hear what he got to say. He's one of the guys that you look at. How do you do this? How do you do this YouTube thing? Because he's one of the guys that definitely has it figured out. And I think, I'm hoping secretly he's going to bring on a Sante Samuel onto his show, and we're all going to get to rip the guy apart.
That would be interesting. Oh, that would
firing
be fun.
squad.
We would go
firing
ballistic.
squad.
Yeah, dude. It would be like,
man.
it would be nuts. It would be nuts. Jeremy, what do you got coming on? You're Jets Lounge, Jeremy, right now. So let's say what's going on with that? What do you got coming up? What's that all about?
Yeah, well, I'm working together with the guys in the Jets Lounge. They have a big presence on Twitter, and they have a lot of contacts, a lot of big people, and they wanted to venture into the YouTube world and bring those connections like T-Rich and Braylon Edwards, a lot of the guys they have on their show, and bring them into the YouTube world so fans could actually see them talking to us live. So we're going to do a Sunday night show where we get different guests every Sunday night. This great guy, Vinny, he's been a fan of yours from, Vinny and the Jets. He's he's going to be my co-host on Sunday nights, and we're going to bring in special guests and try to just get some exciting names and get some exciting people. And if I get anybody you love, GreenBean, I'll bring you on to meet them and be part of it too. And the same thing goes with Gunny, of course, because Gunny's my man.
Hey, yeah, well, that's awesome. That's exciting. That's exciting stuff. That's exciting stuff. I want to say hello to Steve Asman. Says Jake has been working very hard since high school. It's good to have you here, Steve. Welcome. Now, Hawk, I want to just tell real quick, Hawk, while I love Jake and I think he's amazing and all those things, I take offense to this. I take offense, you bastard. Now, this does not remove it. Little Jake, that doesn't, it's like, no offense. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, no offense, but your face, it bothers the living hell out. You're a goon to me. No offense. No offense, man. No offense. I hate your mother.
It's the old, with all due respect.
Yeah, right.
It's always disrespectful after it comes out. When you hear that, just be ready for it.
Right. Brace yourself. With all due respect, you're a complete butthole. It's hard to say otherwise. Gunny, what do you got coming up, friend?
Yeah, so training camp is here. So officially, I'm going to be back in the grind in terms of adding more content, creating videos, editing videos. I actually started editing my video with the whole Asante Samuel thing and the Quentin Williams signing. I gotta tell you, man, I gotta go ahead and find more time during the day to get these edits right. But they're coming. I'm about to be back in full gear as training camp gets here. That means I'm back. My off season is over, so the channel is gonna be go ahead and pumping out videos weekly here. It's been a pretty quiet off season for me, but I'm about to go ahead and get back live. Oh, and if you are a fan of fantasy football, last season I did sponsor the New York Jets Situation Report Fantasy Football League. The champion did win a signed autograph Quentin Williams football, and it's no purchase necessary, no buying, nothing like that. It's just me chopping it up with fellow Jets fans. We get our own little league, and in the end of the season, I'm going to go ahead and give the champion a New York Jets signed memorabilia piece. So if you're a fantasy football fan, keep a lookout on my Twitter account and, of course, on YouTube. I'll be announcing that here in the next couple of weeks, and I believe we're going to go ahead and do a Sauce Gardner autographed either football or jersey for the champion this coming season. So real good stuff. So keep a lookout for that. But yeah, football's back, which means Gunny Gumby is going to be back in the game as well.
There you go. It's a better world.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Gunny's the real deal, man. I won a CJ Mosley jersey from him, and he sent it.
I protested it.
It's I know you protested, but it's because I'm a cheater. But
he's a cheating son of a bitch. That's what he is.
I didn't do nothing, man. All I did was subscribe to Gunny.
Want to know how Jeremy got on YouTube? Let me tell you guys the story real quick before we leave. Right, this is what Jeremy did. So I, as you guys know, I was traveling around the country riding roller coasters for 2 years with my wife and kids, and we did the Jersey Shore coaster tour where we rode every coaster on the Jersey Shore in one day for a charity. An animal shelter in South Jersey to raise money for them. We ended up raising, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000, something like that, to help them out. And I just posted a picture. It was in Ocean City, New Jersey, the most obscure of all the. It's like when you think Ocean City, you think Maryland. Ocean City, New Jersey, the town that doesn't serve alcohol, by the way. It's a dry town. I think it is. 90% sure. But so there was like an artwork on the wall. I took a little snapshot, a little tiny picture. And I said, if somebody guesses this, I don't know, I'll let you on the show or something like that. Right. Yeah. So Jeremy guessed. Now I made the mistake of not saying you get one guess. Right. So Jeremy Seaside, Wildwood, blah. So he did. And then he literally texted my wife. He found his way on Instagram. He's bothering my wife. And I said, oh, Jesus, with this guy. Fine. Nobody got it. Like I had like 50 guesses or whatever. And so I said, all right, fine. I'll bring you on. And there he is. And that's
the funny thing is, GreenBean, the funny thing is out of the 16 places you try to hit in that one day on the shore to hit, every place in every roller coaster in New Jersey, it was literally the last guess that I made.
Yeah. Literally, he guessed every other place. Now, the truth is, we didn't make it on every coaster on the shore. It's a long ass day, man. But there was one more place up in Keensburg, I think it was, and they had 2 coasters up there, and they were closing. It was like 8:30, and they closed at 9, and I was like 35 minutes away. I even called them and said, "Can you stay open?" They were like, "No." Some kid on the phone, he's like, "Get out of here, man! Screw you." Not staying open because you want to do some stupid thing that you're doing. So anyway, yeah, see, there it is. Dom C says Ocean City. That's why nobody knows about it. You never hear about it. It's like, no, it's like, what do you do? Go down there. And I don't drink, but it's like, whatever.
I just realized the champion of the league from last year is actually in is Broken Heart Tattoos. He was like, "I'm here, Gunny. The ball is dope," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, there you go. Yeah, the champion of our league, so he gets automatic admission into the league, so he doesn't have to worry about a sign up. He's automatically in as a champion. So there's kind of myself, and then Dom automatically gets in because he was in the championship game. So there's going to be 8 more slots available. 9 more slots available after myself because I'm obviously in the league, and then the other 2.
There's you.
But yeah, so yeah, my bad, Broken Heart. Appreciate you for calling me out. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here, Gunny. The champ is here. I appreciate you, champ. Thank you very much for making it known.
There you go. Congratulations. Broken Heart Tattoos, everybody. The champion. Maybe he's, that means something about his tattoo prowess. You got to go visit him. So what was I just going to say? I was going to say one more thing. Oh, VR Hidalgo. Yeah, I got like 315 coasters, I think I got. Something like that. 320, 312, some shit like that. But yeah, 250. That's respectable, my friend. Well done. My 200th coaster was the Wild Mouse on the steel pier in Atlantic City. 200, and then I made it on like 100 and change more as we traveled around the country. It was a good time. But everybody, we are back. It is the season. This is training camp. We are back. The Thursday thick of it is now 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Every Thursday night. So we did 7 p.m. for a while in the off season. We're going to be moving back to 8 p.m. like we did tonight. And so that'll be great. And then the return of GreenBean's Jets pod will be this week on Monday, and daily videos, man. We got lots to talk about. We have much to discuss. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys. It's time for us to be happy. Damn it. This is our year. With that all said, I want to thank Gunny, Situation Report, and Jets Lounge, Jeremy. There he is. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man.
I want to kiss you. Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.